this podcast is sponsored by Virtual Superstars. So.
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Cool. Good to be here, boys.
Yeah, been a bit of a long time in the making. Been wanting to do one with each one of you guys for quite some time, and
we're all here. Welcome to Bangkok, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Happens in Bangkok, stays in Bangkok. Except this podcast.
Yeah, this gets out. This goes viral.
So, me and Hayden live in Oz. You guys live in Bangkok. How's it been living in Bangkok? The transfer, obviously, you're both from Oz. So, what were the big changes compared to living in Oz?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different world over here. I think for me, living in Adelaide in Australia is just like very routine based. It's the same old life, same old people. Everybody's doing the same thing. You know, buy the new property with the 3 kids and the minivan and the AstroTurf outside the front, and that's what they call a life. So I just wanted to get out, do my own thing, go and explore the world a little bit. And just came here for basically a holiday, for a 6-week holiday, and then that turned into about 2 years. So, but yeah, Bangkok is great, man. I think whatever you're looking for in Bangkok, you can find it.
Do you find it's a better business hub over here compared to Oz? Because like a lot of more business-minded people,
definitely,
opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, even in just my condo alone, you've got, probably 10 to 15 guys that are all running their own business, doing their own thing, digital nomads from all walks of life, all different countries. Definitely on a similar wavelength over here. I think it's very rare to find that back home.
Yeah. And it's always good to sort of meet your tribe and meet people that are sort of working towards the same goals, and not everybody sort of has the same mindset, especially if they're employees. They don't really understand the sacrifice you make when you run your own business. But see, I'm quite opposite from you. Is like, obviously I live in Mount Gambier, a lot smaller than Adelaide. Yeah. And I love that it's small. I don't.
For the viewers, where's Mount Gambier?
Oh, mate. Southeast, South Australia. But I love it there because all of my mates are online. I just don't have to stop in traffic unless there's a red light. No dramas, nothing along the lines of that. Build all my mates online. I met all you guys online. Yeah, literally. Now we're here in Bangkok.
Yeah. It's the thing for 2025 is like things are booming that you can. Well, my dream was I had a 3-step plan, which was like I hated my 9-to-5 job and I was in recruitment in Sydney, and I was like, first step of the ladder is I want to be able to work anywhere from my laptop, and then the second goal was like I want to basically someone to do the work for me, and then the third one just never work again. So it's that kind of step ladder. So we're still working over in Bangkok,
all the time.
That's what everything's going digital. If you can get your business on digital and just make it, I mean, it's great. So what Us3 do is your business fully online operational?
Yeah, 99.99%. So I've been building that out for about 5 years now. But we've got guys on the ground that are happy to be in Australia. Like our property manager, she wants to live there long term. She's got kids, wants to grow that sort of stuff. So like for her, it's perfect. So I've now built out the team on the ground, so then I can essentially do everything online or anywhere I want to be.
Yeah, I think people are in different stages though, right? Because you got a lot of people back home that are building a family, and back in Australia, that's a great place to do that.
And that's what they want. So if that's what they want and I can give them the job and the tools to do that, they can help me with my business. I can help them with their life. I guess everyone wins. It's just different qualities of life and different goals, especially for females. Primarily, they want to have kids, and that's very easy in Australia because there's good jobs, there's good government systems and things in place to help them. So, like, it's good opportunities if that's what you want to do, but it's just too easy to get bored and caught up in the rat race. And as you said, working 9 to 5, and then you've got to work a second job to pay your mortgage or pay for your...
It's got a side hustle.
You have to.
Yeah.
100%.
But we were having this conversation the other day, and it's like there's pluses and negatives to it, because I found when I started my business, my first year was 12-hour days, 7 days a week, no social life, and that can be super isolating, especially coming after COVID. And then I actually went to Canada for a year on my own. Then I came back to Oz and started my marketing agency. So I did basically another year inside on my own, and I was like to him, I was like, man, I gotta have a break.
It's terrible for your mental health.
It's so bad. You don't see anyone. Everything's online.
Isolation is worse than alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
Literally,
I was waking up, training, eating, working, and that was all I was doing. So it's like finding that balance, but I
find that that's good, but in like bursts.
Yeah,
I like to do that over like a month. Just lock into monk mode or ghost mode or whatever the popular term is, but lock in for a month, and then you can sort of have a little bit of balance and some stuff come back into it.
But some people love
2 years is brutal.
It's brutal. No, 1 year. Well, it was 1 year. Yeah. I feel like your first year you have to do that if you're building something. You don't have that choice. I didn't have any options for staff and this and that, and deals were coming in. But and we were saying the other side is that people love the 9 to 5 life. People crave that routine. They need to be in the office. They need to be around people. So it's like it's not for everyone.
Well, I find what's interesting about what you two have in similar is, Neil, if you want to share it, one of the first businesses I remember you starting was a commercial cleaning company, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I know, Jacob, you're on a commercial cleaning company, and
absolutely terrible.
What was your first client?
So I was a cowboy. So the first business I ever started was a vocal music school in Canada, Vancouver, because again I moved there during COVID. Everything was shut. I was like, I couldn't get work, so I had to make an online Zoom business to teach online lessons, because I was like, what am I good at? What do I know? What can I sell straight away? Like, can I get a job, or I'm going to go back to England? So I did that, and then when I got to Australia, I was like looking at all these TikTok videos on these commercial cleaning. I was like, commercial cleaning contracts like 30, 70k. Like, if I get one of them. So I was a bit of a cowboy, and I was like, to get the workers was the main part.
Yeah.
And I was like, what I'll do is I'll go on all the Latino Facebook groups, like backpackers.
Yeah, that's not a bad strategy.
And just hire them.
Honestly.
Brazilian barbecues.
Yeah. But what I did was I created, I basically built my business on Facebook, and I was like good at cold calling. So I called up all the real estate agents and was like, I got jobs on. I was like, yeah, he'll be there. And this guy, first employee, didn't even have a Hoover, came around to borrow a Hoover. I got him some cloths for like $1. And he did a terrible job. The real estate guy basically sent me pictures of it, just nothing being done.
What the fuck?
And I had to pay out of my own pocket. And I went, oh man, I cannot start this business because I can't depend on people.
Too much
I want something that's just me.
And I think that is the hardest thing in business is people.
By far.
People.
And
people say cash, but people's the hardest. Money's easy to get. People is very difficult.
Yeah.
Then that's both of my businesses is people at scale.
Yeah.
So it's like you're doing the hardest part.
Absolutely.
I remember you telling me the other night. It's I think you just probably had to keep pushing on.
Yeah,
you learn as you go.
I've had two, 3 failed businesses, but I had a successful one. But I've loved those lessons and journey because you're kind of like, what do I want? And you got to learn about yourself as well.
But the Latinas off Facebook is not a bad strategy. I'm telling you,
that's a really good strategy.
I'm still seeing all 4 of them.
I was going to say, we're still talking about cleaning, or what are we doing?
But most of I started my cleaning business in COVID, so you went from everybody. No one being able to come into the country, no students, no backpackers, and that's like your whole workforce. So it was impossible to get going for, 6 months.
How did you find the success then? Like, how did you...
You just have to be creative. I just had to be creative, figure out different ways of hiring, different groups. It was a lot of Facebook groups. It was like just the normal posting on Seek, posting on Indeed. But like these days when you post a job for something like that, you probably get 300 applicants in about 2 days. There I wouldn't get 100 for the month.
I said this, I made a video about this, and it was like, it's if you go out and get a job, the process could take 2-3. I used to be in recruitment, so 2 to 3 interviews. You're fighting against 10 people that are way high quality than you. If someone's gone to a better uni or Harvard, they're above you already. It is easier to pick up the phone and sign a freelance client within 7 days and get the same income than it is waiting 3 to 6 months to get hired by an employee. Like, just cut out the middleman. It's just so easy to get your own clients. But hiring for a job now in Australia is insane.
Yeah,
like the competition, and it's not even a job you want. It's like it's terrible money.
Yeah,
and they go in and they go on a 3-step interview process, and it's like, oh, well, come and meet the team. Oh, but this time, and then you do it, and then they just ignore you. They don't even give you a job. It's like,
yeah, it's same with property managers. They have the highest turnover in any industry.
Like, I can imagine.
Unreal turnover. Unreal.
You'd know better than most.
I used to describe that job as don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
Because you're just talking. It's never your opinion half the time. It's always on behalf of the landlord or the tenant, and you always have to be the bad guy. Tell the landlord that the tenant doesn't want to pay the rent increase, or tell the tenant that the landlord wants to increase the rent. Yeah, I didn't mind the job though. You learn some. Like I took the property management job because I knew I wanted to do something big, but I had no idea sort of how to do it. But I knew money was made in property.
Yeah.
So when I took that job, I took a massive pay cut. I took about a $35,000 a year pay cut to become a property manager. And then the reason why I did it was because I thought, well, I'm going to be managing the properties of people who have millions of dollars, and that's what I did. And some of the people that I've met that I've referred over to you or spoken to you about that own 10 to 20 different properties, and just being able to sit there on the phone and just asking questions. And what I found was by providing a really good service to them and being on the ball with it, I could ask them any question they had all the time in the day to assist me with everything.
Yeah.
I was still really good mates with like half of my bloody...
So you got your foot in the door. You're making the right connections.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's probably stood you in good stead as well, just dealing with people and, you know.
Yeah.
Good skills. I think like it's so cheesy to say, but it's like I was like, okay, I hate listening to these online gurus saying about mindset, but because like mine's so different now, but it's so right. You come out of school, you want to get a job, and you're like, I have to get a job to make money. The only process is get a job. I'm from a middle of England, a small town. They actually made a Netflix show about it last month. Did you ever watch Toxic Town?
No.
On Netflix, did you see it come up? Toxic Town.
People just do nothing.
It's just a toxic town. They basically poison the water. But anyway, long story short.
Oh really?
Oh wow.
Yeah. I grew up in the middle of England. Like, no, I didn't know what a stock was until I was like 19 years old. I remember going to a bar in Canada and America, and some guy's like, "Hey, bro, like, what's your portfolio?" And I was just like so confused. Like, someone was asking, like, they whip out like their apps and stuff, and I was like, I didn't have that mindset. I wasn't around the right people.
So internal.
It's so internal. Yeah. It was rooted into me of like, I go to work, I trade my time, I get money. Until obviously got around a better network, and now I'm like, I would never want to step in foot of a 9-5 ever again, because I'm responsible for my income every month and how I can scale it. If there's 40 hours in the week I give to an employer, and I work this hard Monday, this hard Tuesday, this hard Wednesday, guess what? At the end of it, I'm getting paid the exact same. But if I do that as a entrepreneur and I assign 3 clients, I work really hard 3 days, I could have 2 days off and I've made more money. Just as people don't think that way.
It's more freedom.
That's why they say your network's your net worth.
Yeah.
It is. How have you built yours? I mean, because Hayden, we're all here because of your TikTok.
Yeah, well, when I quit my property management job and I decided to go balls to the wall and try and start something, I sat there and I really wanted to sort of figure out what the actual game plan was. And I wrote down this massive plan, and I was like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start posting on TikTok. I want to build a personal brand because that's going to put me in the rooms with the right people. And then I came up with ideas of what type of TikTok content I wanted to do. Probably spent a month of not necessarily like moving the needle with the business, but sort of like laying the foundations with the plans. Then I started posting online. I met you. I met my original business partner, and then started my marketing agency at the time. Sort of that's, you know, when you start your business, you go, oh, this is going to be easy. You sit there and you go, I only need to sign 10 clients for $2,000 a month and I'm set. And then you try to sign the 10 clients for $2,000 a month as a beginner, and this is like, oh shit.
And then you've got startup costs and expenses and everything else.
And then don't even get me started on tax, mate. But then what you realize is like there's so much stuff that you don't actually know. So then I started working for free for businesses to get some case studies, some referrals, foot in the door. And then, the marketing agency ended up drifting into property finance because that's something I'm really passionate about. I've always loved property and finance. I think, finance is the language of money, and I think you got to understand it if you want to go anywhere in life. And then, during that process, I started to realize that most people in property finance don't know how to pick up the phone and call up their own leads. And they would sit there and go, oh, you remember this because you were part of the business. I turn around and go, oh, these leads are shit. And it's like, well, I just called them up myself and they sound pretty good. Yeah. Are you not calling them up yourself? No. And then we introduced booking appointments for them on a performance basis. We did the marketing agency, which then allowed us to not have to go out there and get 10 clients at 2,000 to get to 20, but we could go out there and get 5 and build them up from the 2K and get them 20 appointments at the $100. So that's what we saw, and that sort of opened up my eyes to not necessarily wanting to pigeonhole my services at a fixed price, but I wanted to be rewarded on some sort of, value that I provide.
And value exchange.
Yeah, and then as I started getting into the marketing agency for about 2 years, I started to realize that it's like, I just don't like this business model. Like, it's churn and burn. Like people, at the end of the day, like when you're a marketer, you've got to rely on the business owner to know how to sell. Could rely on them to be on the meetings on time.
Absolutely.
And generally what I found was like my first couple of clients just had no idea how to sell, and I attracted them because my prices were so cheap. So then after a while, I just decided to throw the towel in and start up my appointment setting business in property.
But let's go into that because that's super interesting for like anyone that's starting a business, because I feel like this like the shiny object syndrome is so easy. I feel there's only 2 types of entrepreneurs, which I've like figured this out. There's the first type you meet, and within 2 to 3 months they've smashed it, got a dropshipping product or something that's worked, and they've gone to the moon. And then there's us, we're in this section, which it takes years and years and years of failing, developing skills that really matter. But then when it does hit, it just explodes. And there's so many more skills that if this side entrepreneur went through, it would fail and crash and burn. They've just hit the jackpot really early, and luckily, like luck is definitely a thing. There's only ever 2 types. And like we went through it kind of together and learning all what works, what went wrong, what went terribly wrong, systems, calls. It was a burn, wasn't it, man? We went so long with no money.
Mate, I spoke to every mortgage broker with an 04 number on Google.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, we'll call 5,000 people and see what happens.
I think honestly the most important thing, and I have so many people ask me this, is what do I start? How do I start? What sort of just start.
It's clarity, isn't it, though?
Just start something, because realistically the first business you start is probably not going to be the thing that gets you to the X revenue or X goal or X profit goal. Like me, I started the cleaning business, which then rolled into the VAs and the outsourcing, because I did that for my own business, and then I had other people wanting me to do that for them. You started off with the agency, and then you've rolled that into the appointment setting, because you've seen it's a better opportunity.
Absolutely.
Like it happens so frequently, but you can cut your teeth and cut your skills, and then the stuff that you've learned in that initial business you can then factor into the next one, and it's off to the races.
And one thing I think, and it's one thing that I preach to Neil all the time, is one of the biggest lessons I've learned is to make sure that your service or your product isn't a commodity. It's not something that everybody else is doing. You got to make sure it's something that actually solves a real problem that most people aren't. And it's what appointment setting does. Like at the end of the day, my competition's $80,000 or $90,000 a year, and they get paid by the hour, and they work exactly the way you described you did in your 9 to 5. You give it all Monday, Tuesday, and you're off chilling by Wednesday arvo.
Mine was the working class story. It was like I didn't have it because I moved to Australia on my own, like no family, no nothing. I can't even get a credit card or anything because I'm not a citizen. So mine was like, I've got to start from zero and make this work. So I did the 9 to 5, and then I'd come home and do my 5 to 9. And I was like so driven and so burnt out. But I know 90% of people wouldn't be able to hack that for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and give up their social time and stuff like that. So I figured, I was like hungry. And then when I got there and figured it out, got my 40 hours back, only recently I've like understanding a lesson, which is like, if you get to that top of that mountain, you're working for so long, you kind of have to love it a little bit. If you go into a business that you're hating but you're making really good money, it's a glorified 9 to 5. What's the point of doing all that work to try and have the freedom of the life that you don't even want? Because you're like, oh well, I've worked 2 years for it now, but I actually hate every day waking up doing it. Like I wake up, I love writing emails, I love doing copywriting. Like it doesn't feel like work. So that's an important thing as well. Like find a business that works, but be a little bit, love it a little bit.
I don't think you have to like be obsessed or be passionate about your business, but I think you definitely got to have some form of enjoyment and a purpose, or that's for me. I'm more purpose driven.
It's got to be something bigger than the dollars. Like that's all it's got to be. Like we all have our own goals, and if you're just chasing after money, then where are you going to end up? But I found one of the best things that sort of really helped me go through with my business is understanding the expectations that will come forward, of realizing that, hey, I'm probably not going to have any work-life balance for the first 2 years of starting this business. And I know a lot of my mates, they're like, how do you balance going out and socializing? I'm like, I don't. Like, I just want to build this, and then that way I don't have to work my 9 to 5 like everybody else after the age of 30. And then
sacrifice
I can go,
to take.
You got to sacrifice. You can't have everything. You got to choose one or the other.
But you're 1% of 20 because you're 23. Sorry, you're 1% of 23-year-old. Because I remember I was
0.1.
0.1. Because honestly, when I was 23, I did want to go out. I'd just be chasing girls, and I'd be like, so you're disciplined and you've got that focus.
I don't even think it's discipline, bro. It's just not interested in anything else.
No, it's definitely discipline. Like, it's definitely discipline. Whether you're interested or not, it doesn't mean shit. You could just do nothing. You could be jerking off 25 times a day.
Who says I don't? But
you said you got down to 21. But in business, I think that's the main thing where people struggle. It's the shiny ball syndrome. So it's like, my mate just told me if I get into fucking crypto, I can do that next week and be a crypto superstar. And then boom, and then the next guy's, you know what? We should move gold. We should trade courses. We should do this. Next month they're doing something new. But I think with business, like, you can branch off different things, but you can't go on a whole different circuit. Like example, like say for you did the commercial cleaning, then an offshoot of that is VAs. Because that's part of that. But if you went from commercial cleaning to coaching dentists on how to fix teeth,
you're starting again from scratch.
You're going backwards because you don't even know anything. You're actually starting at -5 instead of 0.
Exactly.
So people just and I was the worst for it, because I'd hear these deals and go, hang on a minute, I could do that. I could make that. I'll start that next week, and then next week, and then it's like,
and you got to be an expert. Like what I love, what was told to me by one of my mentors, is just like if you go into a restaurant and a plate drops, you're right, and you shout, hey, man, like, you know, no one's really going to turn around. But if you say, hey, dad, half the men are going to look in that room. But if you say, hey, Max, now only like 2 or 3 guys are going to turn around. And it's the reason why brain surgeons get 3 to 400K a year and a GP just gets like 150. You pay for the specialty. Like it's so important to hone in. Yeah. And this is what what I'm saying to teach as well.
Niching down is so important.
If you're a cleaner, right? And you have this tile and it breaks, but it's a tile from Italy. It's like, okay, I'm a tiler. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm a tiler for apartment condos on the 12th floor. Cool. I'm a tiler for apartment condos on the 12th floor that does plastering for this tile. Like, boom, all of a sudden you can charge like 10 times the amount. And that's a super important lesson.
That's the difference between a doctor and a surgeon.
Exactly.
Yeah, if my mechanic was doing haircuts, I still wouldn't go to him. I'd go to him to fix my car, but not cut my hair.
They're doing mortgage brokers now, a lot of the hairdressers and everything. Everyone's doing mortgage broking on the side. I had a guy that was fixing my tiles actually on the roof the other day, and he's like, do you want a quote on your home loan? And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Fuck. Let him go.
I've had mortgage broker business, I've done all this stuff, but it'll be funny to listen to what he knows. I go, yeah, actually, what do you do? He goes, oh, well, I'm actually a mortgage broker as well. And I go, oh, wow, tell me more. And then he's like, yeah, I've got like 30 lenders and I can put these details in and it comes out and I'll give you the best deal. And I go, oh, wow. What LVR is that on? He goes,
phrases.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you don't even know the LVR, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh no, I just put the details in the system and it shoots it out. And I'm like, that's not a specialist.
Sounds like a Queenslander.
but like, that's after speaking to like so many mortgage brokers, especially from a marketing perspective. Like, you go, well, why would anybody want to choose your brokerage over other brokerages? Well, it's because we care about our clients, we get them the best rate, and we have access to over 30 plus lenders. And I'm like, I heard that 3 times today. Now, why? And then, or another question you say to these mortgage brokers is, who is your ideal client? And most of them will say people who want to save money. And you're like, wow, geez, what a wide net right there.
100% of the
people
population.
Who breathe. Yeah, legit. Let's categorize that.
Yeah, 100%. So I still remember, like, that was a legit conversation from a mortgage broker that I brought on for my marketing agency. I was like, all right, mate, who's your ideal client? He's like, people who want to save money. And I was like, well, if you shoot for everybody and anybody, you end up with no one. So we went on the angle of targeting people who didn't have the cash to go renovate their house or, go and get some cash out to go on a holiday. Those are the 2 angles we went on. And the way that they were doing that was getting the equity out in the refinance, and he fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
The best marketing campaign I've ran for a broker. Yeah, I think he ended up doing a bit over 30 grand in 3 months with it.
Yeah, clarifying your ICP is huge.
Yeah.
Like actually figuring out, okay, who is the person that I can make the biggest difference for? Because I mean, that was one of the issues with us initially, is we were servicing everybody, every different type of business, marketing, car washes, books, like just everything. And it's like you're dealing with so much competition that you have no specialty, you have no leverage point, you're not different from anybody else. It's probably just going to be a price war. And that's not any way to run a business. Like, for me, diving deep into, okay, who is that group of people that I can make the most difference for? So I think that's massive.
Yeah, I like to make a lot of difference for rich people.
Yeah. But that as well is like starting a cleaning business and then comparing that to, okay, most people's weekly clean is going to cost them, $110. So it's maybe about $400-500 across the month. If you compare that to some of the deals that you boys are doing, 20K for a deal, 30K for a deal, even some of mine is 3 or 4K for a deal. It's the exact same game that you're playing. It's just a higher leverage point.
I find that interesting because we're a service-based business and you guys are real estate. So I'm going to come out the real estate guys for a while. I love the saying, it's like it's like millionaires are made in real estate, but billionaires are made in business. So I feel like it's like one or the other, because like I don't understand real estate, so I'm not in it, like in the sense of like the LVRs and all that sort of stuff. But what we do is like, everyone's going to need cleaning. While I'm in copywriting, every single business, without a doubt, on this planet needs a website, needs email marketing, needs a branding, needs the words written for them. You've got something on your top there, like it all needs the words to it. So the thing about real estate, it's like, I don't know the markets, but could it be volatile? Could you lose your business in one day if the government changed something? I think I have control issues where I'm like, because I've moved so many places with visas and stuff like that, where I'm like, I want to control my income at all times. That because things have happened in real estate over the last 30, 50 years in the stock market and rates going up and down. Like, and this is a question, sorry, I'm not just talking at you. If something changes like that and you lose control of your business and your income, I mean, would that wipe you out in a day, or you're always going to be protected?
Not in Australia, no.
Okay.
But here in Thailand, 100%.
Yeah.
Because, like, the laws in Australia is protected for people to buy property. Because most of the government, they own multiple properties.
Yeah.
And like 90% of Australia's wealth is through property. So it's the most protected asset source and income strategy in Australia.
But there's a lot of foreign buyers in Australia, isn't it, for property?
As a small percentage, but what happens is the fees get increased by foreign buyers, so then it puts them out of the market. But there's other ways around where they can have an Australian company, they can have a son, they can have a cousin. There's so many ways around it where that doesn't impact it too much. But you're right in the sense that that's what makes people a bit less confident in other countries. Like, because here, example, like, we can't buy a house unless it's under a business. But so we'd have to set up a company and then buy the house. So then if something goes wrong with the business, we lose the house.
Yeah.
But in Australia, we buy a house in our owner occupied in our personal name. Nothing can happen from the business perspective because it's your personal. But then on the flip side, if someone's trying to sue you as a person and your property's in your personal name, they can actually take that as well.
You're right.
So therefore, what we work on is people that get, after about, say, 3 or 4 properties, we start changing the strategies into buying through company structures and through entities instead of buying in your individual name. So then if anything happens, someone tries to sue you for touching a girl on the leg or something and they want to take everything, it's all hooked up through protected assets through a trust.
Okay, different question then, because again, I think there's two sides of people to keep this as simple. Say someone like you've got Hayden, you've got a property at 23, you've got on the rental market. If someone gets to 30, 35, 40 and has still not got a property or rental, how do you view them people? Do you still think they can be successful or they can make a lot of money? Like, or do you feel that you have to buy a property, you have to have like a portfolio by your like 35 or 40? Does it matter that much?
I don't think you have to have a property, depending on what you're doing. So I'll have clients that will come to me and they've got really good business strategies and structures in place, and I'll tell them to go and do that business before they buy a property.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think their business is going to make 10 times as much as what their property is going to make.
Yeah.
So if that particular person only has a situation where they can either A, do a company, or B, buy a house, unless that person, I think, is going to be the best at business and going to do that successfully, the least risk is to buy the property, because that can't go wrong, it's going to grow. But if they don't believe in themselves, and I don't believe in them in that sense from their individual business style, I would sort of coach them more towards buying a house while they're working it out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because there's people like, I think it's controversial figures like Grant Cardone is like, don't buy a home. It's like it's an anchor. It's like if I rent, I can get out of this.
Buy 20 rental units.
I could buy
So that's another conversation. So then that's where they rent vest. So example, like you'll see a guy that'll talk on podcasts in Australia. His name's Jack Henderson.
I've seen him.
Yeah. So he has lots of properties, maybe 10, 20 million worth of properties, but he rents at the moment.
Yeah, I actually saw that video.
And the reason he rents is because the house he's in, and I don't know the exact figures, but I'll just give you a ballpark. So the house he's in is worth about 6 million. For him to buy that, he's got to put in an 80% LVR. He's got to borrow over $4 million, and his repayments are going to be like $6,000 a week. He rents that for $1,600 a week. So it doesn't make sense for him to buy that house.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
but the person that owns that house has probably got it for like $500,000, and now it's worth $6 million. So they only want $1,600 a week rent because they don't want to pay too much tax. They want to keep their income down and have the asset grow. So I think for people like that, like I don't even own where I live. I rent vest as well, because where I want to live a lot of the time, it's cheaper to rent than it is to buy. So there's other areas where you can make more money.
And then you can leverage off the fact that you've got more sitting there to work from.
Exactly. And then
it's not caught up in a rental.
And you're not caught up in your owner occupied. You've got it all in investment. So once 4 properties grow quicker than 1 property. So if you've got 4, you're multiplying, you're getting equity. And then one particular area might have a boom, then you can leverage that equity and then buy another property and things like that. So I do think property is really good in the long run, either way. But I think a lot of people won't buy their owner occupied because rent vesting is a really popular term now for people with businesses. But if it comes down to a business or a property, if you've got a good business and you're going to back yourself, I would do the business first and then use that as the leverage to be able to buy the property.
That's the route I went on, because I was like dealing with citizenships and visas where I'm like, well, I can't.
That's a different situation.
I can't get this loan or mortgage, so there's no point like crying about it, and just go on this side and go, how much money can you make to then open up other options and doors?
That's very different. So that's where you go hard on your business, build that, and then if you get your citizen or you change that over the next few years, you've got a driver, which is your business, which is your car, and it'll drive you to the property.
Because my life was like forever moving for the last 5 years, like England, Europe, Canada, Australia, blah, blah, blah. So I love renting at the moment. Like I love renting a super nice place, rooftop pool and all that sort of jazz. So on my head, when I'm like, okay, buy property, I mean, if you know Brisbane, I'm thinking, all right, like I'd like to buy an investment property in Logan. And then in when they build that rail in 10 years, it's just going to go up. Like, why would I buy anything
I think with starting a business though, I 100% get what you're saying. But when I started a business, it probably takes, especially when it's brand new, probably takes a couple of years to actually start earning money. And then you've got to wait for the bank to say that you've got a certain amount of earnings within the business to then go out and get a loan. And so I'm interested to hear, though, you said you had over $5 million worth of property by the time you were 28?
Yeah, I don't even know where it's at now. I'll tell you in a couple of months after the divorce.
But what was your strategy when you were first getting going? What age did you were you 20 years old and you started investing? What did that all look like for you?
Well, that's why the finance is a really big part for me, because if it wasn't for finance, I wouldn't have any property. Yeah. So I don't come from a wealthy background. I don't have inheritance. I didn't even have a dad to tell me what I should buy and what I shouldn't buy. Yeah. So I got a job at the bank when I was 18, when I moved to Sydney. And then within, I think, 3 to 6 months, I was number one in Australia. And then they put me onto a leadership program to put me in to become a branch manager. Yeah. So then I could essentially approve loans for anyone at that stage. So then I'd worked out how to leverage my deposit through the bank. Yeah. So at that stage, and there's other ways to do it now, and I'll touch on that after with some things that we're working on, which is a good plug. But in relation to that, positive credit reporting wasn't around, so I knew I could go and borrow my deposit from a bank and apply for a home loan that day, and it wouldn't pick it up. Yeah. So I went and borrowed my deposit from another bank, came on that day, went and got my home loan approved that day, and then showed them the proof of funds. Yeah. And I had that proof of funds. Yeah. So therefore, it looked like I had that savings and I had that money, which I never had, but it didn't flag because when they checked my credit file, it hadn't come up because it doesn't go until the next day. Yeah. Now it's a bit different because I have positive credit reporting, so you can't do that because it instantly comes up the second you do it. But there's other ways in relation. We're working on some pretty cool products this year for first home buyers with no deposit. Which will change the market, and we'll be the first one in the game doing it. Yeah. A few people doing low deposits, but that's where everyone really stops, is that deposit. So a lot of people, you'll have miners that are earning 200 grand a year, they're doing well, they got good money, but they can't save that deposit because they're buying jet skis and Land Cruisers.
Getting tattoos.
And going to Bali every 3 days. Yeah. But that's where they're at, which is fine. But if they could buy a house, they've got the money for it because they pay $1,000 a week in rent. So those sorts of people, if we can help facilitate the deposit or we can leverage a deposit for them, all they've got to do is pay back the debt. So that's how originally I bought my first property, and then would buy more and more, and then once the equity would come down. But at first, my first property was like a stupid townhouse. It wasn't even a good property. Right. Yeah. But I got a property.
You just got your foot on the ladder. That's it.
But if I was 19 again and I had the knowledge I had now, I'd be buying totally different. But what happens with the property journey is the smarter you get, the better you can do. But now it's if I was 19 again, I would just pay for someone like myself who's done all that and had all the problems and seen all the success, and it's you can't go out and research in a few months what a specialist after 15 years has. You just got to pay for it. The way I look at it, it's well, I could save 10 grand by not having my shoulder reconstruction and doing it myself. What am I going to do? Go on YouTube, get a fork and a knife and try and work it out? It's just fucking stupid. professionals are there for a reason.
Skip that learning process, jump the ladder. Yeah.
That's what, like, there's things you have to learn for yourself, but then there's also things that you can be taught 1,000 times faster. And if you can do that to progress faster, then why not?
Yeah.
So then for me, it was mainly leveraging finance. So if it wasn't for finance, I wouldn't have any properties. Once it gets to a certain LVR, I'd notice little things that I could do to increase the value. Example, if a house in that same area had a new kitchen and it was worth 500, mine's only 400, I'll go spend 20 grand on the kitchen, get a 500 grand valuation, back to the bank. I want another house, I want another house, I want another house. But then it gets more complicated, as I was saying. Once you get to 2 to 3 properties, you get to a capacity where you can't borrow anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got to then trajectory change and then set it up through companies, because companies have a different lending criteria.
Yeah.
Again, back to the finance. In Australia, we have a thing called responsible lending. So that's where people can't lose their house, they can't get in trouble. Like, the bank has to make sure that they've done enough research to make sure that you can get the property. But what it does is it makes it very difficult to get property. That's the hard part, because they go, oh, you earn 50 grand, we're only going to accept 40 grand.
But that's what you brought up earlier, which is that point which we all like fight with, is like, if a couple is paying $1,500 a week in rent anyway, but the mortgage is $1,300, they still wouldn't even lend that out.
Yeah.
So, well, I've got rental payments for the last 3 years. So what else do you need?
Yeah, it's my mate's in basically that exact same position. He's a developer in Adelaide, not a developer, but he's on his 4th property now.
Yep.
And he's sort of a bit stuck at the moment in terms of the bank's not lending me any more money.
Yeah.
And I have to go out and get it through, contacts and investors and
stuff,
private funding and.
Let me have a chat with him.
Yeah,
I can.
I've already told him I'll link you two up. Yeah,
I can fix that easy.
Yeah,
and if not, I'll get an accountant to put in a process where we can fix that in 6 months.
Yeah,
and there'll be no issues, and then it'll just keep buying. Because once you've got the company set up, it's very easy to borrow more money because there's no responsible lending. So you just can, when your property's performing better, you can use all the expenses that's coming in as well. So if you're getting $1,000 a week rent from a company, you can use that $1,000 a week rent. Whereas if it's consumer, they shade it to like 800, 600. It gets harder and harder.
I think what he was wanting to do was get to the point where, because he sold either, I believe, 1 or 2 of his properties off, because he was just wanting to buy in cash to basically get around. And I was thinking,
that's
probably
hard.
Yeah.
Especially with developments, because you can probably usually leverage 3 to 6 times your deposit.
Yeah.
So if he's doing one development at $1 million, you could be doing 3 to 6 million developments with funding as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the things people don't like to use finance because they don't understand it. It's not that they don't like it; they'll use it. They just don't understand it, and they think the banks are too difficult and they're hard, and they are.
I'd say that is the thing that goes over people's heads. Yeah. So like, the finance side of things.
The banks are dicks, like they are literally dicks. Like, and the problem, and this is even a bigger picture, so this is why the banking system's so bad at the moment. You have a lender that calls himself a senior home loan lender that's been there for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't even know where the bathroom is. Yeah. How can you help me strategy?
But the banks don't want you to get ahead. That's the point. They don't want to tell you, they don't want you to know the information, because otherwise you would use the information around it.
They don't make as much money, so that's why you got to try and find something.
Back in the day, I find it interesting. I mean, my dad was telling me about this. It's like, you used to go into the banks in the 70s, like with a piece of paper, and like show that you were a good citizen and a good character, and be like, right, I'll grant you a loan. And now it's just all computer based. Like within a second, it's like, what's your credit?
My pa, when he bought land up in Alice Springs back in, I don't know, 1950s or whenever it was, the manager of the bank in Alice Springs goes to all the auctions, and he would actually finance everybody there. And I think he bought the block of land for like $1,600 back then.
Wow.
And my pa went to go pay the deposit, and the bank goes, no, we'll fund 100% of this. Yeah.
Wow.
And then they went down to the bank and they signed the papers, and he got it. No money, no cash out of pocket. And then he used that cash to build the house himself.
No responsible lending back then.
Mate, different world.
What's it worth now? Jesus,
I think they sold it.
16 trillion.
I think they sold it. They sold it about 4 years ago, and I think they sold it for about 900 or something.
That's
not a bad return. Wow.
Yeah,
it's good.
Nuts.
$900. It's went down, mate.
What's that? 40x return or something? Wow.
Oh, mate, mental. Yeah.
That's wild.
No, it's insane. Property, it's one of the keys to be able to preserve wealth. And going back to what you were saying before, Neil, like with your situation, that your business will be the cash flow machine, but then the property is where you get your wealth, because it preserves it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people do, right? Is they spend. Well, I always hear this, that and this is from, like I say, less experienced business people, and I don't know, maybe you've got a different point of view, but they always say you got to diversify. You have to diversify, and it's like, not really. Most people earn all of their money through doing one thing 100% to the max, and then once they've got their wealth, then you can look at diversifying.
Diversification is an option.
I'm like, wait till the first bucket's fully full.
That's
and then grab the second bucket, and then grab the third.
People that have made all that money, like Warren Buffett, said the exact same thing there, but it's like they've done boring businesses like storage, paper. The guy
storage is awesome.
Yeah, the guy that made the Starbucks coffee cups get too hot, so he made those paper things. He makes like 0.1 cents out of them, and he's a millionaire.
Wow.
But storage is real estate.
Yeah.
Well, they don't print more land.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, I mean, I think you can start a business in anything. Like, we're all four of us are doing some different thing, but if you have those skills of a business mind, like leadership, you know, I said this today actually. It's like, I think people are so distracted in 2025. They've got TikTok brain. Like, they can't sit down for more than 3 or 4 hours. Like, you just got to like cut out the noise, be disciplined, be organized. It's like these simple things that I talk to like hundreds of business owners a month on calls, and I'm like, they're late, or they're not professional, they don't talk a certain way, they don't carry themselves. I'm like, I don't want to do business with you.
How easy it to get ahead then?
How easy is it to get ahead? Like, the bar of entry is so low.
I think your business is awesome though, Hayden, because like for me, the most important thing as a business owner is sales. And there's so many business owners out there that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
And can't answer a phone, can't pick up a phone, can't cold call. And so you're...
Mate,
you're solving that problem, and it's huge.
And the thing is, sales is like the lifeblood of every single business. Without it, there is no business. And it's the biggest bottleneck in every company. And I remember Impulse started it. I just turned a LinkedIn message on. I just put a campaign on. 24 hours, had the first client. Then I went up to Adelaide, met a couple of people up there, got my first whale client. And it's the easiest sale of my life, because everybody wants it. Such a needed service. Nobody else is doing it. It's gotten to that point now where I'm actually extremely picky who I work with, because I can be.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Back when I was running a marketing agency, you take anybody that would say yes. You'd be like, bloody hairdresser down the road. I'll run ads for you. But now I'm just like, I need to pre-vet these people, because like, at the end of the day, there's only one speed to lead, but there's thousands of these property companies out there. So I want to make sure I'm working with the top dogs. And the part that I love about it as well is obviously, so I met you, Daniel, is through running ads for property people and doing the setting, but you also get to learn from like the best property companies for free, and you get paid to do it. Literally. So like,
I've got the plug. Nice.
When I go work for them, they go, here's all of our internal calling scripts. I'm like, sick. So this company here is doing, $8 million. $8 million a year, and these are the exact scripts that their internal setters are reading to call up these leads. Wow, what an asset!
Learn. What a genius.
Yeah, legit.
Can't wait for your course to come out with their scripts. Send them out.
Speed Lead Academy. But I mean, Neil, you do copywriting and email marketing. So what got you to go down that avenue and really focus on copywriting? Because I find I get messaged on my TikTok by a lot of beginners, and it's generally not a business model that I would advise people to really go into, but you've smashed out of the park and excelled with it.
Mine's a super weird story. So I've always been a writer. So I grew up a professional singer. So I've always written lyrics. So I was like writing lyrics. And then like the part of my story I said, I came to Australia on my own, trying to start a new life. I couldn't even get a credit card or loan or this and that. And I'm like, okay. And I sat there for months, and I was like in a room, and I was like, I need to figure this out. What can I start that I can transfer over and get money in return for just a laptop and a phone and without an employer? And it always came back to copywriting, because a copywriting can be like, your website, you need this rewrite, or a landing page, or your emails are off. And it's like, I'll write this up, put it on a Word doc, here you go, and now money's in. And it was the business that was like money in straight away, rather than waiting months and months.
Quick coin, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, that was like, I talked to so many business owners and stuff like that, and I'm like, what's impressive to me, because this is what I had to do, and it was a grind, is like, if you were dropped off in the middle of Africa with a laptop and it was just your name, how are you going to get money in the next day? And for me, I could do that with copywriting. I could call the business up and go, okay, just looked at your landing page, your websites, your emails. I'll like try this out, and they'll go, oh my God, like it worked. And you're right, and it is weird, because we're going into the age of AI, and people are like, oh, well, is it going to take over? I'm going to type this in. AI is only good with the information you feed it. Like in copywriting, it's all about sales, psychology, persuasion. Like in 2025, someone, if you look about your emails or messages or DMs, and I've like hit big dogs, who just I was thinking of a guy that actually got back to me, and it was a big guy. I can't remember his name, sorry. But you have to win them over in the first line. Sometimes I don't even put hello anymore. Like it has to be so out there and brutal, and that's the copywriting skills that come in. It's like, because business owners or big dogs with blue ticks with millions of followers get thousands of DMs a day. What's going to make you stand out?
Yeah. When I used to do DM outreach on Instagram, I just sent voice
notes.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Like that's what I do on LinkedIn. Yeah,
that's what works. Yeah. That's personalized. Do you know what I mean? But you're also thinking about the words of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even like when we're calling leads and a lead doesn't pick up the phone, most businesses will be like, "Hey, name, it's your name calling from XYZ company.
I don't even leave
I was giving you a call in regards to ABC service. When are you free for a chat?" And it's just like the SMS that they send. I'm like, you just gave away all your power, because now they're going to either remember the last 3 digits of that phone number and never pick up again. So what we do is we send a text message that goes, "Hey, Jacob, it's Hayden. Call me back." And then they're sitting there and they're like,
who is this?
Yeah, where's he from? I mean, he only told me his first name. So like, and then it just prompts a callback or a text message. It works so much better than just a standard stock message.
I don't even send a text. I don't send a text or a voicemail. Yeah.
Yes, I'll get my invoices paid.
Wait an hour, give them a call back again. Wait another hour, call back again.
You can also do a double dial. Make people think it's urgent. But you also piss people off when you do it.
Yeah, you don't like double dials, do you?
I don't personally like to do double dials because, like, I don't know. Large share of our leads is in the medical sector, like doctors. You know, wouldn't want them to like be operating on a heart. And then going like, "Oh, who's this? Hi, I'm here to sell you some property." It's like, I'm on someone's heart. Nah.
So you have to think of a way, like, lead generation 2025 is hardest. But it's funny because we all have to, we don't just wake up and just do a job and like, okay, it's over 9 to 5. Like, we're all bringing in business for our own business. We're all calling the business owners or emails. I heard of a genius outreach the other day that was just like blew me away. It's got a 100% open rate, and it is 100% guaranteed that the business owner will see your message, right? And it was genius. And it was like, so it wasn't email, it wasn't call in, and it was like, because no one does this. If you're at home and then you get home and you see your mail, like what people have been doing is sending a physical box with something in it. Because if you get a letter, you're like, oh, it's the government. If you get a box, like, what's it? So in that box would be something funny, like a brick, and your cold email. Someone did this to a big top dog, and it was like, that's the best outreach I've ever had in my life. Yeah. But it was 100% open, because open
that's how
rate.
You differentiate.
It's just something different. You know, that effort that's went in.
You bringing up AI though, I think it was actually you bringing up AI. How do you think that that's like interacting within your business? Because I know obviously with copywriting, you've got ChatGPT, you've got Grok, you've got DeepSeek, you've got all of these options. What do you think is like the good and the bad things, and what are the misconceptions from some of the people that you work with? Because I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, I don't need a copywriter because I've got AI." Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I would basically what I use ChatGPT and AI for is a time signal. It saves me like 10x time.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I need something done, it's like, here's all these leads, put them into an Excel spreadsheet. Here's the information. If you want to start the email, and it's like boom, 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 boom. Here's 10 social posts. It kind of like, I'm still the checker. It's just like it's like if you were looking after radioactive fuel in a nuclear plant, but the robot was putting it in. The guy would still come over and go, "Oh, that's a bit off. The temperature's a bit off," and change it. Yeah. And that's what I see as a copywriter doing to AI still.
Yeah.
Because it's very kind of generic and stuff like that.
AI is only as smart as the person using it at the end of the day.
For now,
yeah.
I think you're probably the most set. You're right. You just,
I love ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Well, it's the best thing in the world. Like, honestly, like the things that, like, probably 80% wrong in my life and my business, ChatGPT fixed for me.
Yeah, but I fear it's going to make this new generation. If you're like 12 to 16-year-olds right now, and you're going to school, you're going to be so reliant. You're going to have no social skills. You're going to like not think for yourself.
Probably
like, when's the last time you did a calculation? I've never. In 10 years, I've used my calculator on my phone. Like, I've just never done one. In a long time.
Man, I do it on pen and paper, and it's right.
There you go.
What are you fucking doing?
But it's going to be lost. Handwriting's going to be lost in 20 years. Adding up in your head, all these things are going to be lost. Because what's the point? Why would you be in school in 10 years and go, oh, well, you know, what happened in history in 1788? Ask ChatGPT. Oh, yeah, he did that. Oh, cool. Passed. So there's no point.
There's no cognitive thinking. It's just more processing. Like, whereas for me, like, I knew the stuff, but to get it to look pretty or to put it on paper was the big issue for me. So now I can put in ChatGPT. It says, look back, and I go, that looks okay, fix this, change it. So just my end goals make it a lot faster.
Yeah.
So it makes things a lot quicker.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the problem, a lot of people, I'll even see my staff though, the problem is they try and use it and they don't check their work. And then you read it and you go, are you a fucking robot?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what is this
So
rubbish?
obvious.
Yeah, and then they go, oh, I didn't check that one.
People's AI radar is so through the roof now as well. Like even emails and stuff coming through, I'll be like, that's AI. Like, you know.
The moment you see the word unlocked at the start of the
or top notch,
Here's the catch.
All the time. How about you, Hayden, though? Like, how do you think AI is interacting with your business? And like, you know, if there's people out there that would say, oh, I can have an AI person doing my appointment setting for me. Like,
yeah, I think go ahead, do it. It's just gonna, like, at the end of the day, I think the human, at least so far in 2025, what AI can't really do is, it can't do a lot of like the psychology stuff of like knowing when to pause, knowing how to like, you know, extend syllables and really ask stuff in a certain tones. So far AI can't do that, but yeah, like one of my best referral partners runs an AI phone calling company. Like nobody wants to use it. they're all interested in it. Yeah. But nobody's keen to do it.
I think for me, like there's always an element of that, but I think there's always a lot of value attributed to having somebody in your business that you can rely on, build a connection with, relationship with. They can learn more about the business. You know?
I also think humans just want to point fingers when something goes wrong. Like for example, if an AI bot, didn't book somebody in or didn't get all the information or whatever, whose fault is it? It's the business owners that put the AI bot in there. But like, if it's a salesperson in there and it stuffs something up, then the human can be not angry at themselves, but angry at the human. Yeah. And that's what I see with like accountants. Like one of my clients, he's an accounting coach, and he always talks about like, oh, how will clients survive the AI revolution? I'm like, you will, because if I get my AI to submit my tax and it's cooked, then like I want to be angry at my accountant, if that makes sense. Like I always like to. That's why I pay my accountant to do everything. Like I get a VA to do my BAS, and I pay my accountant just to click submit. I'm just that nervous. I don't want to mess with the ATO.
We come across it a lot, like being VAs, virtual assistants. You know, a lot of people, I can just get AI to do most of that, but
it's like stop that.
I don't think it's there yet. I think we've still got some time.
Jobs have been threatened every 10 years. Think about when the internet and computers came out and with our parents' age, and it was like, every job's going to be replaced.
Hayden was 3.
He's still in the womb then.
There you go.
I think AI makes it easier to do your job, like and it creates more jobs, like because you think like 10 years ago we didn't have TikTokers, we didn't have YouTubers, we didn't have that. So like AI has helped that to give people new jobs. It hasn't taken jobs away. Well, it has, but it's created more. So it's not like it's taken a job and then you're just there twiddling your thumbs and we've got to get money from the government. It's like, if you're positive, you can use AI to make your business better and help you with the things that you struggle with. And then
it's a tool. Software's a tool.
It's also going to provide like better services and better quality to consumers overall, in my opinion.
And you can blow up at it and it doesn't care.
It's great. I think it's a collaborative thing, right? Because that's what we do. We have a human VA, and then they also implement some AI stuff.
Oh, you get a VA good with ChatGPT, they love it,
if you get an awesome VA that's an absolute gun at ChatGPT, then you're getting the best of both worlds.
Sure, a serious question here. Do you find the success for all of us, the success of your business has been dependent on your skills or your socialism and skills with people, one or the other?
I reckon skills with people.
Can't say both.
I would say I would definitely say skills with people.
Exactly. So like, I've seen the best video editors, website builders, athletes in their bedroom, but if no one knows about you or you can correlate that in communication, then you ain't going to get very far.
I think that's very true, but I think it's also systems too, because if you're making all of these connections but then you're not delivering on the back end.
Of course it matters,
you know.
And branding too, that's what I need to focus on the next few months.
That's why we're here, mate.
Building that up.
There you go. Leads us on to our next conversation.
But how did you go, Jacob? Well, for starters, how many with virtual superstars? I know you've really like niche down now, but how many VAs did you have on the books at once, and how did you manage a team that big? Because I managed a team of like 11, but I'm sure you managed like 3-4 times that.
Yeah, I think
ChatGPT.
Yeah, we had like 55, 60 plus VAs on the books at one point, but it was getting to the point, like I was mentioning before, that it's so varied. You know, you've got 10, 20 different businesses. There's no specialization. And it's, again, people as well. Like managing and dealing with people at scale is so difficult, and they're remote. But, so yeah, the biggest thing has just been niching down. And like, for me, I started my cleaning business in 2020 in the height of COVID. After probably around 18 months, I had a really bad experience with a local hire. I was paying her about $5,000 a month, $36 an hour back then.
That's decent.
And yeah, she was like very, very good bookkeeper, very good at admin. And I'd booked holidays for Christmas and New Year's and everything. And on the 20th of December, she said, sorry, I quit. Immediately. Terminate.
I've had that before Christmas. It's brutal.
And so my entire December and January, instead of out, you know, enjoying myself and doing a little bit of work to help support her, was cancel all your trips, cancel everything. You've got to manage 600 jobs for the month on your own. So I was pulling my hair out thinking, what do I do? And that's why I tried the VAs.
Yeah.
I probably went through about maybe 3 or 4, like trying to actually find a decent one. And it's very hard to navigate on your own because there's so many different things that you've got to look for. There's navigating that whole entire process, finding the right person. Do you go on Upwork? Do you go on Fiverr? You know, then it's very transactional because you've got people who've got 6 or 7 clients. It's like, how do you actually find someone that is dedicated to your business? And so it took a little bit of time to actually do that. But then once I did, I trained her for probably about 2 or 3 months. And then we had 2 more people come in and she trained those 2 people. And they still run the business today. So that cleaning business is doing low 7 figures, completely run by a team of VAs. I do maybe 3 hours a week. And that's it. And then that was the catalyst for Virtual Superstars. So then we go out and help other cleaning businesses, tradies, agencies, heaps of stuff, you know, admin, sales. Yeah, tradies are a perfect market because
they impulse buy, got cash, got
problems. But they're also like struggling, you know, the amount of traders that I've spoken to that are like working all day and then missing calls. They're pulling over on the side of the road.
They don't get admin. They just don't.
No,
get two fucks.
When I was a property manager, like you'd be waiting months to see an invoice from them.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
You're like, how are you living if I'm not clearing?
They only work out an invoice when they're at the pub or they're at a restaurant and they're like, oh, fuck, how am I going to... Oh, I didn't charge... Oh, I got to charge $4,000 for that. Let me quickly send them an invoice, and they're pulling out their phone trying to send you an invoice on there. So they'd be brilliant,
Yeah, 100%. What's 3 qualities you would say you need to look for in a VA?
That's a great question. Integrity.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest thing. It's having somebody that's like got your back, is honest, is trustworthy.
It's hard remote too.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. And then just a goer. Somebody that has that level of initiative, who's proactive, because you don't just want a robot, right? You don't want an instruction base because you can literally just use ChatGPT for that. But having somebody that, you know, is proactive, uses their initiative. And then I'd say just communication as well, you know. But again, like that sort of factors into the way that you manage your VA. A lot of people that we work with, especially tradies, they've never had a VA before. So they don't know what to do, how to manage them, how to get the best out of them. So we actually have like an onboarding resource. It's like a 20-page document. It's like a Bible for actually onboarding them, getting the most out of it, setting the right expectations, foundations, you know, communication channels, just reporting, like sending end-of-day reports, daily reports. Are you doing weekly huddles? Like, how do you actually manage this person and get the most out of them? I think that's a big thing. But yeah, integrity, proactive and initiative, and then communication, I'd say would be the big one.
And how do you find those leads? Like, how do you find, what's your lead generation skills to get
it's
through to the tradies and get them on
Meta,
ads?
We
like
just run
Facebook,
Meta
Instagram,
ads, Facebook and Instagram, and then cold calling. So Hayden put me onto a really nice little tactic, basically just looking on Seek for people who are looking for admin or operations assistants.
Reverse
and
marketing,
even better if they're remote as well.
Yeah.
So you just give them a call and say, hey, seen your job ad, just wondering, is it still open? Yeah, still open. Oh, okay. And then you lead them into the dance.
I love B2B sales, but I can't justify doing B2B when B2C is just such a piece of piss, especially when you're doing property and helping people get their first home with like no money down or anything like that. It's easiest thing to talk about on the phone.
B2B is hard. It's getting harder and
I
harder.
love B2B though. I absolutely love
doing
B2B
as well.
Dude, you get a thrill out of it. Yeah, I 100% love it. And that's how I came onto the sort of Seek idea was, after doing so many cold calls and getting so many rejection, you sit there and you go, well, I want to do 100 today and I'm probably going to get like 2 positive, like really good replies, like 2 meetings, and then maybe one close if I'm lucky. And then I was like, well, I don't actually want to do 100 cold calls anymore. How can I do it less but get the same result? And it came from one of my mentors, Adam Mandavik. He basically said, well, why don't you try and find the leads that are highest chance to be in market to buy your services? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, why don't you just go call companies on Seek that are looking for appointment setters? And I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, that sounds good. And then I took it one step further and I was like, well, I want to call up companies who are running ads on Facebook and Instagram. So I went and paid someone on Upwork $300 and they built me this scraper that gives me all the contact details of companies running ads on Facebook, and I can put the niche in. I put property, start calling up those people, and start posting them on TikTok. And
Such
TikTok
a good idea.
Oh, dude, I can't justify calling Google Maps anymore.
Yeah,
I can't justify it.
I think your business is sick though, with your personal brand. You know, the personal brand that you've built up through TikTok in sales and then setting up an appointment business. Like, it's the perfect partnership. Yeah, you know, it's such a good lead in. You'd get so many referrals and inbound leads just from that alone.
I've never for speed to lead, I think I've done probably less than 100 cold calls to speed to lead in total. Never run an ad. All of my leads have come from referrals. Yeah. And the first 2 clients were LinkedIn, and that was it. They're all referrals. Well,
that's the power of personal brand. I mean, like you said, we're all here because of your TikTok. That just shows it.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I think referral. I was saying this to you yesterday. It's like, it's funny being an ex-marketer, but like, I can't justify why some businesses would ever need to run an ad when you can go out there and get really good referral partnerships with companies that it makes sense for them to refer the lead over to you.
Because 9% of people don't have those sales skills, like we just said. Like, it's
but it's not even like sales skills, bro, because it makes sense.
It's
like
confidence too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did 2 years in recruitment in Sydney, and it was civil and construction for tradies, etc. But I had to bring the clients on, and it was literally like, here's a headset, page on, there's 1,000 numbers, like, get going. It was just those reps, and I was just like, that was built into me. Brutal.
Oh, like Hayes and that, the recruitment guys.
Yeah. And you just call and hope for the best. But again, you got all those like rounded skills now, being a marketer, and like, and doing what you're doing now. And same with me. Like, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be able just to pick up the phone to anyone, just call them, to be savage.
Yeah. You've got to have that savageness, I think, though.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid in business. You can't be afraid of rejection or getting knocked down a peg or getting told to fuck off or, it's just part of the game.
I love that.
You just got to have a smile and just, boop, okay, on to the next, don't take it personally. That's just it.
Emotionally.
The number one question I've always been asked on TikTok is, how do you get over the fear of cold calling? It's like, well, when you're on the phone to your mum and it's got that like big red button down at the bottom of the screen, if someone's been a prick, just press it. And then guess what? You're no longer talking to them. Yeah. And it's just like, I understand why people get nervous about it, but like, I think it goes back to back when we were cavemen and you didn't want to, be kicked out of the tribe, because when you get kicked out of the tribe, you die.
You're on your own.
It's just like, well, if someone yells at you on the phone, you're not going to die. And once you can and that's with most fears in life. Once you can wrap it around in your head that you're not actually going to die, or you're not going to be kicked out from your family or your friends.
People get so scared to just talk to someone on the phone.
They do, and it's just like, well, what's the worst? What's literally, and one thing that I've learned over like the last couple of years is like, I keep like to go back to the most common sayings, because they get said so much they become like white noise and they lose their power. Like, people are like, well, what's the worst that can happen? But when you sit there and you actually think, what is the worst that could actually happen? And you start thinking, well, the worst thing that could probably happen is he raises his voice at me and he makes me feel like shit for the next 30 minutes. Is that literally the only bad thing that can happen to me? Well, that's actually not that bad. And
that's how you call me. I'm coming around now. I know your address.
Especially when they don't know where you are too. Like if you say, "Hey, it's Hayden calling from Commonwealth Bank, Bankstown," then
that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
Because that used to happen to me. I used to be a bit worried about that with GE. I'd be like, "Oh, it's Dan from GE Money, Hurstville or whatever." Then you have an argument. I ended up having one customer come in one day, just go off and start smashing things and stuff like that.
Yeah,
damn.
And it's like. Yeah,
another requirement for email marketing in 2025 now as well. You have to put your address at the bottom and be quite valid, like around not like your actual house, but it's like you're held more responsible for things
virtual
now.
address.
Yeah. But is that if you're doing bulk emails?
Yeah, not like just private emails, but marketing.
No, I mean like email outreach to like at scale. Because I probably only send maybe 50 emails a day, and that's it. And that's just.
You're technically not doing it at scale. No. You're technically sending manually one-to-one to business owners you want to work with, which is...
No, I don't even send it to business owners I want to work with. I just send it to clients and my staff.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need it for that. No.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
This is for more like outreach sort of stuff.
Right? Yeah, but it's just marketing and you're getting held accountable and stuff like that. I didn't. You said the other day. I didn't even know, but you can't cancel. You can't delete Google reviews. I thought
of course you can. Imagine you could. Every place would have 5 stars.
Well, there's actually a really good business called Removify.
Yeah.
I heard of that.
They remove Google reviews for you.
That'd be a great idea for business.
Yeah. And there's actually like a service that they offer that's like I need it done today or tomorrow, or because you have panic business owners that call in and somebody said this guy's, fucking
but
done
I also
this or done that, but it's like $900
easy
to remove a review, and they literally just have a couple
Surely.
of people that go through back into Google, do the process, come back, and it's boom.
It's like the credit file guys where you pay them and then they remove all your defaults and bad pages.
Yeah, it's that, but like the internet version. Yeah.
So you had much to do with the credit file removal stuff at all?
Oh, how long you got?
Well, this is where you might correct me, but I've always thought it's such like one of those business models where they charge a heap of money. Well, they charge a decent amount of money, but generally the people that need it don't have any money.
How much they charge in your opinion?
$1,600.
It's nothing.
No, but for some of the people that like I speak to on the phone, they want to go buy their first home and they literally have no money. They're like, oh well, I can't afford to pay that. I got to pay rent. I got to pay bills. I can't save for a deposit. I can't remove that off my file.
So they got no disposable income.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't buy property. That's the problem. But the other thing there is what you got to keep in mind is a lot of the time these payments will be like someone will have a 10 grand default, can never buy a house, pay someone $1,500 to have it removed, all of a sudden can buy $1 million house now. But if they don't even have
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But if you don't even have $1,500 to pay for that, how are you going to pay when your hot water system blows?
That's it.
So I can understand like where that sort of comes from that mentality. But then even absolute worst case scenario, we can leverage those funds, borrow it, pay these people, get the default removed, then repurpose it and massage it backwards. So you don't really need the money, you just need to want to get it done.
I love what you say about massaging the numbers. I think
we're in the massage capital of the world, so I thought I better plug it in.
Dan got one before he came here.
Yeah, mate, I think
after.
I think you should charge royalties for every time I say massage the numbers. I say that to so many people now. I'm on the phone to Dad and I'm like, Dad, you just need to massage your numbers and you'd be saving money on tax.
Well, I was the branch manager, I had to be compliant, so we had to use the word massage.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we weren't dodgy and we weren't non-compliant, but we'd massage some things to make it work.
Yeah, there's some places in Asia now that's already ruled this out for the last year or two, is that they're now doing like a social experiment of like, instead of credit, it's being a good citizen and you get points and you're like tracked by your face. So like say you jaywalk, that's a point, and if you do something wrong and then you go to get credit,
screwed going into Nana Plaza the other day.
How you are as a person.
You're minus 1,000.
Minus 2,000. I need to get credit over remover.
Walking out with 3 girls on your own. Down 1,000 points.
There you go.
Oh no, it's 3. We'll give him another 1,000.
I think that's a win.
Depends who's the judge. If that was me, I'd be bumping you up.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends what religion's in charge at that point, I guess. You might not be able to have 9 wives at that point. Who knows?
That'd be alright.
But
One's enough.
Yeah, one's too much, mate.
Absolutely. But so speak about this exciting no money down play that you're planning on doing, because I know work in the property sector for at least like the last 4 years now, that's that's going to change the game, mate. It's either going to solve the housing crisis or cause a building collapse, in my opinion. It's one of the two.
Yeah, it was like the main things that when you're trying to buy a house, like the things that I look at is obviously what we spoke about earlier. Is the first thing is your character. So I don't care if you've got no money, I don't care if you've got no job. If you want to buy a house and that's your mentality and you're 100% keen, that's good character. Doesn't matter you don't have the deposit now, it doesn't matter you're not a citizen, doesn't matter defaults, doesn't matter. We'll fix all that stuff in the process. But the first thing is the character. You'll get people that will come in and be like, oh, I want to buy a house. Oh, why? Oh, mum and dad said it was a good idea. Okay, so how keen are you on buying a house? Oh, well, probably like a 3. And it's like, okay, so 1, you got no deposit. 2, you're not keen. Like, I'm not even going to waste my time on you. Like, that's where you talk about not picking your client from a B2C, but from a consumer perspective. Like, you want to pick the people you deal with as well.
Yeah.
Because even you might be earning 20 grand off a client or 30 grand off a client. If they're not going to buy anyway, all you're wasting is 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the difference there. So for me, like, that's the main thing, the character. So if the character's there, then the next problem that where everyone goes wrong is the cash. They have the cash for the deposit. No, that's the main problem. So we've established a way, and I won't go into it in too much detail for legality reasons, but we'll talk about, we're essentially going to be helping people buy properties with no or minimal deposit, next to nothing. But there will be certain people that will qualify for a 0 deposit home loan. It'll be the first in the making.
That's game changing, because I know most mortgage brokers I speak to, they're like, they just brag about the 5% deposit and they think it's like the best thing ever. And I'm like,
well, that was the best thing.
It is good though, but
like,
you can imagine fucking
and
0.
then they brought out the 2% single parent.
Yeah, I saw that
now
one.
the no percent, and then next month we'll give you 1% to buy a house. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, swing the other way.
That's not happening at all. But and then the third one is obviously the capacity to repay the loan.
Yeah.
So I think the deposit or the cash is the easiest thing from my experience to be able to leverage. And it's not the easiest thing. You can't save 50 grand, but I can show people where we can leverage 50 grand, how we can massage certain terms or agreements to make it facilitate a no deposit structure. So that would be the main things that I'll be looking at. The right people, if they've got enough income, then we can work out the deposit and the LVR later on down the track.
Big year ahead.
Yeah, so like for instance, somebody like me, right? I own a 2-bedroom unit in Glenelg. It's like a beachside city in Adelaide. Bought it in 2023 for $474. I haven't got it revalued yet.
Gone up a fair bit, yeah.
But it's off of the sort of median range. It'd probably be sitting at about 650.
Nice.
660. So like, if I was wanting to go out and get another property, what would you be advising me on? Like, okay, this should be your next step. This is sort of the area. This is the sort of property. This is, you know, the next vantage point. Like, what do you reckon?
Well, it depends. Like, what I like to work out with people is their end goal, and then we'll reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to work out what you want to achieve without working out the end result. So I don't like to just buy one property or the next property, because that doesn't really make any money.
Yeah.
It's the strategy for the long term that makes the money, and then we set in the pieces in the meantime. So you might say to me, bro, I want to get to an income, and you just have an idea. I want to get to an income property self-sufficient at the age of 45, where I'm generating cash flow positive 100 grand a year just from my properties.
Yeah.
And I still want them to be growing moderately.
Yeah.
Great. Then I'll work out, how do we get to that goal? Where are you at now? And what do we need to do in the middle? And then we might go, well, this is really easy. We can actually get you here in 6 years instead of 45, but you just got to do this. And you go,
Yeah.
I don't want to work that hard. And it's like, all right, well, we can do it in 10 years, but you got to do this. And you go, yeah, I can make that work as long as I can contribute this. Because you got to be able to understand that if you could put more money into it to grow it as well, then you can make it go faster as well.
Yeah.
And if you're active and buying the right assets at the right times, you can be going every 6 to 12 months. And if you're self-contributing and doing other things, you can turbocharge it too.
Yeah.
So depending on your end goal would be what the next property would be. But some people, we might even have to sell that property, use the cash, and then re-go again.
Yeah.
Because some people might buy in their owner-occ in personal name, and then they can't buy any more in personal name.
Yeah.
And then we can only leverage that at 80% or 90%. So then it makes sense it's still under the no capital gains rule, so you're
Yeah.
exempt from CGT for 7 years. So then we'd sell that, use that cash, and then repurpose it into 2 new properties under a company structure, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
and then you're off to the races.
I think
from
that's what
there.
most people lack is just clarity.
Yeah.
It's like in business. You talk to a business owner, like, here's the plan. Like, make a choice. Some people depend on people to tell them what they're thinking, and as soon as someone says it out loud, they're like, oh, this feels right. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think that's what
Makes
a lot of what
sense.
you do as well, which is
Yeah.
like strategy, really.
Well, I haven't had one person I couldn't help ever.
Yeah.
And when I say I couldn't help, I'll tell them, like, there's obviously people that will come and you can't do anything now.
They'll probably leave with a lot of value after they spoke to you.
But you put them on a
Yeah.
6-month trajectory, and if they
Yeah.
come back and do that, we can get it done. If they don't, that's up to them.
Yeah.
So there's never been anyone I couldn't help, but there's people that don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's to say it, isn't it? It's just like someone said the other day. It was like this guy I follow, and he was like, "Here's my success. If I give you a car with a straight road on how to get to it, 90% of people wouldn't even do that. Like, no, but they're just so distracted and lazy.
Yeah,
they don't want to put any work in anymore.
It's like a lot of my mates that I went to high school with, because I used to sit there and I used to learn all about this entrepreneurial online business stuff, and I used to talk to them about it. As soon as I started, like, a little bit, I was like, posting on TikTok, like, oh, I want to do something like this, blah, blah, blah. And then being their mates, I would go over to their house, pull my laptop over, sit down there with them, start working stuff out. 2 weeks later, I'll call them up and they'll be, I haven't had time yet. I'm like, that's all right. And I'll go back around the house, take the next step with them. And I end up just wasting so much time. And I was just like, do you guys actually want it? Like, this is crap.
People,
some people, like, at the end of the day, there's winners and there's losers. And you gotta choose which one you are, in my opinion.
And you got to choose which ones you spend your time with too.
Over the last
mate, 100%.
Over the last 2 years, I've really enjoyed watching your patience meter start from 100 and go down to where mine is now at 5. Because it's like you're saying as me. I don't even like. I'm a bit older now, but like I don't enjoy being around those people, or people that can add value or talk about good things. If they're just like, if I live with someone and I come home and they're just like this like they're messy, or they're sleeping on the couch and just watching Netflix, like, brings my energy down. Like, I need to be.
And energy is huge.
100%.
Relationships, family, friends. It's got to be.
That's probably one of the biggest reasons why I quit, like, drinking alcohol or going out, because the people I went out there, it was just boring. They didn't provide any value. They didn't think like me. They didn't have the same goals. They were doing this every weekend. They didn't know why they were doing it. They were doing it because each other were doing it, but they were doing it because the other one was doing it.
Yeah.
And then, so like, that's most of the time why I don't go out and drink, don't go out and party.
Yeah. I don't know. I stopped going out when I was about 22. I mean, I used to smash it every single weekend, couple of days, couple of 3-day benders, But, like, I got to a point when we were in the same club in the same city for the same weekend for the 50th weekend on the trot.
Seeing the same girls.
And I was looking around thinking, fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But then I went out and I got a sales job, but then they were all still doing that for probably 3 or 4 years. And so you sort of move into a different bracket, and then those people, you sort of drift away. And with friends, I think it's always a reason, a season, A lot of people are seasonal. You come and go.
That's okay to have as well. But that's just for you, like it did me. I literally have guys at home in the middle of England that are 35 and still have not moved out of their parental home. Because and it's bad, and they become this like socially inept, and because their parents are at fault as well. They have created a nest.
They let it.
But then after thinking, like, my dad would charge me rent weekly if I choose to stay there past. I moved out at 18, so I wouldn't.
My dad wouldn't let me leave high school until I had a full-time job.
Yeah, it's about learning those responsibilities. It's like, people just don't grow up, and it's just like, as a man, I don't know about you guys, but I've recently discovered that it's the most important word in my life is purpose, in a sense of like, what am I getting up for? Why am I doing this? All that sort of stuff. And I think that men in 2025 lack that purpose, that drive. They don't know what to be doing. Nothing really fulfills them until they find something. Like, I grew up a professional musician. I was in the back of vans in Germany, in Berlin, at 12, waiting to go on stage in the freezing cold, and then moved to Italy and go on this, like, and play gigs at midnight and, not eat for the whole day. And I was like, I love this. This is like my life. And then through a vocal injury from an operation, it moved me into business. But I think it was like a blessing. But I have more purpose now because I can't buy properties, build an amazing family, and leave a legacy by being a musician because it doesn't pay. But through a business, I have all those factors covered. And I was like, well, now I'm truly fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled as a musician. So
I think your purpose is huge. Energy is huge. Having that momentum.
Yeah.
It's
momentum.
everything, man. For me, it's
delusional belief in yourself. You have to start with
100%.
Yeah.
Nah.
I remember a job, instead I was in recruitment, I started a job and I went in like entry level, 60k a year, like nothing, because I just moved to the country. And I was like joking with this guy, and I was so ballsy, and I was like, you remember the day you worked with Neil McMillan? I was like, I didn't even know about the feeling about it. I was like, years on, and I'm like, that came true, because you just around those people, they've got that energy. Like you had that energy. That's why I reached out, and I was like, they got that energy, that vibe, and you're like, you're gonna make something one day. You're gonna do something.
Oh yeah.
But I was ballsy, man. It was hilarious. I'd be on like they'd be on like 150k. I'd be on 60k. I'd be like, you'll talk about the day you worked. But I'm telling you now, watch it's coming.
I still remember. I was in the. I remember it was my sister and I in the back seat, and mum and dad are in the front. And we're driving, and I'm like looking around and everything. I'm only like 8, 9 years old, and I'm like, Dad, what's it like to be a millionaire? And he's like, what? And I was like, what's it like to be a millionaire? And he goes, I'm not a millionaire. I was like, isn't everybody a millionaire in life? And Dad's like, no, most people never make it to become a millionaire. And then from that day, I was sort of like, what the shit is going on? Like, why aren't people?
Were you born in a golden palace with a maid? No, is that what your man was a millionaire?
No, I didn't even probably know what $1 million was back then, but
then it would have been a lot.
Yeah, I was just I was brought up in a family where I guess I never saw my parents struggle because they didn't really expose it. Like now I'm older, I hear what they were like back then, but they never put me through it. But from that point, I think that was like a little bit of a wake up call of being like, I don't see why people don't have this level of urgency, because most people, if they get sacked today, they're out of their house in 3 months, like, because they got no reserve.
That's when I lived in Canada, and I used to drive down to Seattle and see America, which is obviously two different worlds, because one of them has guns, one doesn't, and different laws and rules. But this is what the LA homeless scene, and in Canada, Vancouver is the exact same. I'm not talking like a couple of tents. I'm talking thousands of stretching miles of homeless people, and they would do interviews of like working mothers and stuff, and they've said it's only because my son broke his arm. Like they're one accident, one paycheck away to being on the street. It's not them making bad choices, because you look at homeless and go, oh, what did you do and stuff like that. Like it's different worlds. Like America, like have like Australia, UK. It's great. Like we've got systems and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. You should have an urgency, be scared. But millionaire status to me nowadays, it's like it's not as now the new word millionaire is billionaire. Like billionaire is still impressive. You're like, oh my god, there's only like 5%. Back then, when you'd be like a millionaire, that's good. But now it's like you have a couple of properties, you're a millionaire, and some assets. So who isn't? It's like you say, to get to that level now is like
you got to be 8 figures to start.
Is it cash? Yeah, but millionaire cash rich, that's still impressive. But not. I think millionaire asset rich is now kind of the new standard.
But it's weird because I just feel like everybody's always just one step away from actually, like one question away from unlocking a new perspective. And it's like, it's always the word how. So people are like, everybody wants to be rich, but nobody really goes, how do I become? They never take that step forward. And then when I flew up to Alice Springs to see my nan and pa one year by myself, and I took up this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was like 15 years old.
Good book.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, mate. Never read a book in my life.
Neither.
So I read that book on that plane, and when I was reading it, and he was talking about how like his rich dad taught him to say that you can don't sit at something and go, oh wow, I wish I could afford that. You should sit there and go, how can I afford that? And then that's when your brain starts to really start thinking about things. And I sit there all the time and I go, I wish I had 10 clients pay me $10,000 a month. Okay, well, how do I get 10 clients? Yeah, but nobody takes that extra step. And all of my mates are like, oh, I wish I could work from home and I could do this. It's like, you can. Just figure out how to do it. Oh, well, I don't know how to. It's like that sentence there in itself is killing every dream.
But it's also the breaking that mindset. It said exposing some information. You told me something once, right? So I remember being in my 9 to 5 and going, God, if I can make $5,000 a month, like I'd be so happy. I got to 10. I wish I could make 10,000. But you said one night, and you were like, when you were partners, and it was like, I won't say who, but it's like, oh, he's making $300K a month. I could not sleep for weeks. I was like, I didn't even think that was like a possibility. And I was like, that's me. I'm limited. I was like, I thought 10, 20, 30 was like baller. But you said that like it was nothing. And I was like, I couldn't fucking sleep for weeks. I was like, people are out there making 300 to 500K a month. Like that. And then that's again, exposing to that information.
It opens up your world, changes your perspective. Yeah. I think like it's hilarious though, because Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first book that I read at 15, 16.
I read is Power Now.
My mum gave it to me and I was like, holy fuck. We've had the same
Yeah.
the same experience. I'm sure there's a lot of.
Mate, I saw Patrick Bet-David's book in your place.
Yeah. Choose your enemies wisely.
Again, guys,
that's an awesome one.
The words, the copyright in there. So
that is an awesome one though, because that's all about sort of like choosing what fuels you. You know,
I love Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, he's an absolute killer, man.
Yeah, he's
a killer.
He's a G.
Yeah.
But so I mean about, I take nuggets of information, like books I can't really finish, I don't have that patience. I'm not that guy. I love a podcast, but I'll like take information nuggets that will just stick with me more. There's things that I just sit and think about for ages, but a whole book just won't go in, I don't think.
I can't read a book.
No, yeah.
Audio book, yeah.
Yeah. I can read a menu.
Yeah.
I like reading. I like reading, but it's like I need to get motivated to read, and then once I start reading, I'm like, oh yeah, I actually like this.
I get too distracted. I'll read one line and go, what's that?
Yeah, so do I.
What if I got a call and I just can't get into it?
I'll be reading a word, and like the book will say something like, and that night for dinner I had up like, what am I having for dinner tonight? And I'll start. So I only read if I've got.
I'm the same as well. Yeah. Or I'll find out that I've like read a whole page, but I wasn't even reading it. I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah.
There's no comprehension. It's like, fuck, all right, go back to the start again.
Yeah, and people are always like, all the smart people go out there and read. It's like, well, no, they just absorb information, and people absorb shit differently. I find the best way I absorb is from video.
Yeah.
And that's how I absorb everything, because I have to see it visually first.
Yeah.
And then the way I remember things is by writing it down. Like, if I don't write it down,
I think it's the same for actually making content as well. Like, are you better at writing? Are you better at speaking? Are you better at, audio, visual, video, written? Like, what is that media that you're actually, most talented in? I think that's an important thing to note. Because somebody that freezes when they get onto video, but they might be an absolute killer writer.
A lot of people don't sit there and actually analyze themselves. They sit there worrying about others.
Yeah.
Like I used to be the most anxious kid ever, like about literally anything, and then going back to having that original thought of, I think it was in a YouTube video I watched, and it was like, most of your fears come from it goes back to the actual fear of being left out of the tribe. And as soon as I started realizing, like, we live in a pretty good modern day where if I quit my job, my parents aren't going to disown me and all this stuff. So at the end of the day, I haven't really got anything to properly fear about.
Yeah.
Like,
not at all.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that we worry about, and I was talking to someone about it the other day, our generation of people is the first existence on Earth where we don't have to survive.
Yeah.
Like, if you are born and get Centrelink and then you get government handouts, NDIS, whatever you want, we are the first history of existence where we don't need to think about surviving. The government lets us survive. So why are we so worried about this survival mode, kill or be killed, or survival mode, when you don't even have to think about surviving? You can literally be born and die at 70 and never have to work your whole life in Australia. So why even think that as something? Like, use that free time to work on things, but we're just so caught up. It's simple that if you don't want to do anything, you don't have to.
Yeah,
like, it's
I think it's just built into you though, right? It's built into some people anyway. Yeah, it's a primal sort of thing. Yeah, but it's like, do you want to be on your ass your whole life, or do you want to actually go out there and do something and earn and make something of your life?
But I also think not everybody's like, I don't think everybody's not built the same, but I feel like there is a trait of people, and I think you and I were discussing this yesterday, like, it is an actual trait in a person to actually go out there and do something with their life. Like, some people just blend in with the crowd and they're a sheep for the rest of life, and that's all they'll ever be.
Majority of people, yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine, that's okay, but that's who they are.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and if they're happy with that, that's good.
Yeah, I always say that as well. Like, if that's what you're genuinely happy with, like, if you're happy just working the 9 to 5, going on 2 holidays a year, having the nice little family with a minivan and balls to the wall, go for it. But that would make me depressed as fuck.
And that was my problem, right? Like, I'm at police bank, like, maybe like 5 years ago. I'm earning 150 grand a year. I've got a company car, fuel card, bonuses. I'm finishing work at 1 o'clock every day. Like, I'm only working 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm so bored.
That would be somebody else's dream.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh man, I'd love that job 9 to 5. And I'm like, I'm finished by lunchtime. They're like, wait, so you work half the time and you get that and you're upset? Like, are you like all there in the head. And it's like, no, it drives me nuts because I'm bored of 1 o'clock. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'll watch Netflix.
Clock
like, there was no drive. There was nothing.
Worse.
It's just, it literally just sucked the life out of me.
Yeah.
By anyone else, you could get 150 grand a year, work the rest of your life, pay off 3 houses, have kids, no issues.
Yeah.
Got a fully supported car, bonuses. Like, it was a piece of piss. But for me, I was like prison.
Yeah. 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 And that's what I always tell myself, because I will have probably bi-yearly meltdowns.
Yeah.
I think any other business owner is probably in a similar
usually
boat.
Quarterly,
Yeah. Where like just you have one of those months where everything that can go wrong goes wrong, and then you're questioning, am I cut out for this? Is this what I want to do? Man, I could just go back to that sales job. I could easily earn 150 to 200 grand a year just working a few days a week on commission, this and that. And then you put yourself back in that place and you're like, nah, that's not going to happen. I'd be depressed. I'd be, I'd be kicking myself for giving up. And
you're just giving up pretty much.
Yeah, there's no way. So just got to make it happen.
Well, that day I rang you up and I was just like, what do? I was like, do I just go become just a cliche buyer's agent and just start selling property? And I was on the phone to you, and I think it was only like a week later I started Speed to Lead.
Yeah.
But
because I said to you, I was like, look, that's always an option that you can go back to.
Yeah.
But, why don't you just put yourself out there, absolutely go for it, and if it works, fantastic. If not, then you can always rest your laurels on the fact that you can go back into a, XYZ.
100%.
And that's what I always say to myself anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get back into sales, but
I've had to switch the fear of failure, because sometimes, the way I view it is like, if you fail, that's actually good, because you've just had a lesson that you're hopefully not going to make the same mistake again, and then you can take the next step forward. Like, what's the acronym for fail? It's like first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, something along the lines of that. Yeah, and it's just that different perspective.
That's
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, first attempt in learning.
But I like it.
Yeah. And so every time like there's a shit day, you go, well, guess what? It's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
That's what I said to you. That's how I learned like most of my stuff, through failure. And then that's why like I charge people what I do, because it's like, you can go and make the same mistake and it's going to cost you 100 grand.
Or you can spend 4 years doing it all yourself, or you can just fucking get me to do it for you.
And I'll make sure you don't have to buy.
I think that's probably all of us, right? Because I do that with the VAs. I even got a client the other day. I was chatting to him on LinkedIn, and I sent him a message about 12 months ago, and then he messaged me and he's like, hey mate, just touching base. I was like, fucking hell.
Better late than never.
Yeah. But he was like, I really need a VA, and it's sort of, what's the pricing and what's this? So I worked him all through it. But he was looking for like bottom of the barrel, sort of, $4 an hour. That was his perspective coming into it. And so I said to him, look, like, you can find that, like, these are the steps that you want to go through. Go on this job platform, go on here, go on online jobs, filter through probably 200 or 300
Train them
resumes.
up for 3 months.
Yeah, like, I can actually show you a framework of how you do it, and then, like, here's the onboarding resource, and here's everything. I gave him everything. And he's like, thank you so much, this is awesome. And then a week later, he came back and he's like, hey, can you do all of that for me?
Bro, that would probably be a killer lead magnet.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, how to go out there and find your own VA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a killer lead magnet.
Yeah, I should put that out there, really, shouldn't I?
Bloody oath. Yeah.
But it was awesome. I was like, damn, that's interesting.
And you do, because if you pitch, like, make it out to that process that it's that difficult and that cost, and you're not even saying, hey, use my service. You're saying, literally, I'm giving you the keys to the castle. I'll see you next week.
Go out and do it. Yeah. And I said to him, I was like, even if you don't want to go through, I was like, this is how you do it. This is exactly how I would manage everything. Like, this is how you screen the candidates. This is the questions you ask. These are the important points. What's their job stability? What's their commitment to the role, like X, Y, and Z? I sent him everything. I think he got scared. He's like, fuck, this is a lot of work. I'm already flat out. I don't have, 5-6 hours a day for the next 2 weeks to be going out and doing this. So just do it for me. So, but yeah.
So, I've got a budget for 25 now. Okay, yeah, that works great.
Yeah, perfect. You're my RCP.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah. Do you just want any questions you want us to ask you or anything like that?
Really? I mean, there's some good stuff. I'm just trying to think now.
No.
How do you like your eggs in the morning? Fertilized.
And like you the other morning, mate.
Yeah, how did you go the other night?
Oh,
We don't record this, do we?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Just got my dials done.
Yeah.
A couple of appointments, some locals.
But I would just finish off by saying, like, well, how's 2025 looking and where we're expected to go, and then we can do your ads. And we've only got 30 minutes left anyway, and then call it a day.
Yeah. Perfect.
So where you go?
2025.
Yeah.
What does that look like for Hayden?
2025. Oh, mate, getting big into property. There's one thing I've realized literally in 2025 is, in my opinion, the only way you can make real money in Australia is to buy or sell property. This is one of the two. Everything else you can make like good money, but in property, that's where, like you said before, that's where most millionaires are made. And it just seems to be like, even just working with all the clients I work with at the moment, like if you're buying it, you're selling it, you're helping people buy it, you're writing the loans, whatever it is, anything to do with property, there's absolute coin. Cleaning the property commercially, there's coin in everything to be doing it. Like, you do a lot of work with mortgage brokers and property clients. Like, there's so much money to be made just in the real estate world. And obviously conversations with yourself, Daniel, there it says, I just see that as being sort of the bigger picture. So my plans for 2025, I don't think I'm going to probably bring on too many more property clients for my appointment setting business, but I think what I'm going to try and do is work with those clients to help them like grow more, rather than going out there and building more clients. And I sort of see that as, being more than just an appointment fee, but more involved in their business. And like, I see a lot of potential in helping clients just with their sort of online presence and their organic posting, because that plays a massive role in people deciding to go with you or the competitor.
Yes.
And it only takes 2 seconds to click on a website or click on the social media. And so I think just sort of not growing my client base, but figuring out more valuable services I can supply to them there. Because I don't want to, and you'd know
top
this,
to bottom, full service.
Yeah, and you'd know that yourself. It's so much easier to be managing, 10 clients than it is 50. And if 100%. You can work on those 10 and have those 10 pay you the equivalent of the 50, happy days.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my mission this year. What about yourself, Neil?
My mission is to break into the US market, because obviously like arbitrage and where you're from, like I'm living in Australia, and Australian dollar against the UK pound or USD, it's almost 1.8. So what I was getting was really time poor as a business owner and agency owner, because I had a rule, was like, unless I'm clearing like X amount of money per month, I don't believe in delegating that money. Because it's like, if I'm making, say you make 10K a month and I'm spending 4K on something else, it's like, well, what's the point? I might as well do it myself. But I was running out of hours in the day. So my goal or my idea was to like, if I, instead of having 5 to 6 Australian clients, if I have 3 US clients, I'm making more and doing less. So that's my goal, was to break the US market. But I'm also I'm an email marketer in supplements and health and fitness. So it's
I know you were saying your sort of third step is getting somebody else or a small team working for you. Like,
but I feel
how far ahead is that, and how are you working towards it?
I feel like I'm going to use the VA route, because I've got a VA, got a personal assistant. She's like Filipino, and she does like all my admin tasks, which gave me like my Sundays back and then my Saturdays back, and then so I feel that, like I say, and also I wouldn't hire Aussie workers because they know their worth, and they're like $30 an hour, and it's not cost.
No. They think
they're doing.
Whereas I pay
lazy as fuck.
I pay $4 USD. She does 4. She does 4 hours. I'm like, okay, run me what you did for the week, because I'm just to make sure every week, and it's loads, and it's like cost me $30 a week.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm going to build my kind of agency off. Is like, do the skills, get the clients in. But I think the third step would be getting a lot more VAs, doing all the outreach. So basically, I write all the email scripts, I do the target market, and the VAs just execute on that.
Yeah.
And then my other thing would be hiring, other copywriters, marketers to then do the client work. And then I would kind of maybe take a step back. Would that be the step back? Yeah. But I love my brand, like Legacy Words, my company, the name, my life story was all tailored towards that. I love my branding and all that sort of stuff, so I feel like I'm set.
Yeah, I think you're in a good spot as well, because like you're in the trenches right now doing it, and I see a lot of business owners that, for instance, start a cleaning company, but they don't know the first thing about cleaning or business, and they think, I'll just go out there and hire 10 cleaners and then hire someone to manage them. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but like you're actually in the trenches doing it.
Yeah.
So whenever you need to bring somebody else on, you can completely train them into this is how I do things.
Yeah.
This is the model. This is the process, and then you can scale that from there.
Yeah,
So that's super important.
I got really impatient. Now it's like a year's gone. I think when we were starting our own businesses at the same time, a year went by, and I was like, I'm like, fuck, I'm at like physical exhaustion. Like I have no social life. I was like, I need to speed up this process. So over the last 6 months, I've been actually working with or networking with mentors that have just like, and some of these mentors have worked, like their teams work with like Tony Robbins, Ty Lopez, you know, the list goes on, like they're big dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm in this circle now that if I'm learning something in marketing, like Ty Lopez is using it, it's working.
Yeah.
And that's just like catapulted me on and gave me this like another boost that I needed, because going over that year or first year or two as a business owner, then you just want to like stop or quit, but then just getting an extra boost of like, oh my God, this is working. This is where it can go. That's been one of my biggest success traits, is getting a good mentor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that really knows their stuff. And then being in a good network. And interesting, we all hung out the other night, you know, and I said something about email, and it's like, everyone was like, oh, what's that? It's like, there's always a lot of value you can add. It's like, and that's what reaffirms it really.
Yeah. It's good to hang out with people that are actually interested, not just like, you know, like, talk about beers, that's it.
Yeah. These are hotspots. Like Thailand, I said this to all the time in Australia. Like in Brisbane, I'm not rubbing any shoulders in Brisbane.
Really?
I'm not going to go out and meet someone and go, oh, like you're doing it. Yeah, you will. Like you'll meet like a lot of property people and business owners and white collars. But in Thailand and Bali, like you got digital nomads doing $1 million a month on drop shipping.
SEO capital of the world is Thailand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
It's becoming now, and they're pushing it hard because it's not just like Aussies coming. You've got Chinese, you've got Russians, you've got English, you've got French, you've got German. Like it's just so multicultural.
What do you mean by SEO capital that it's most searched for now in the world?
No, like there's so many SEO people out here.
Right.
Yeah,
like working remotely and stuff.
Working remotely. Yeah.
I also what you mean by SEO. Sorry.
I also think SEO in the next 2 years is gone. Personally,
probably. Look at ChatGPT.
Yeah, I don't think the normal search engines are going to exist. Like, I honestly think it's going to end up being, can you show me the best cafe in Bangkok to go to today?
Yeah.
And this is boom, and it's just going to be businesses who are going to have to do their own version of the ChatGPT SEO, if that's what you call it, or it's going to be payment to get on the top.
Yeah.
Do you know what the two biggest search engine optimization websites are after Google? It's YouTube. People search for that, and then it's Reddit. That's why when you search something. Yeah, exactly. It's the second SEO in the world. Yeah.
That and ChatGPT. I would even use Google today.
Yeah. You notice when you type something, every page has a Reddit forum on at least one of the pages. It's Reddit as well.
I got told this one tip, and back when I was in property, and it was, if you're ever going after like an older demographic, you just run Bing ads. Because
Bing.
Yeah, because a lot of people, like especially in like I'd say 40 plus, think they're using Google, but they're actually using Bing because that comes stock on their computer.
Microsoft,
So they were like, I'm just gonna Google it, and then it's on Bing. Like I use Bing on my computer because it came stock. Yeah. Right. And I remember went into my principal in real estate. I went to his office, and he's like, I just Google everything. I just Googled the street addresses, and I'm looking at it. It's just literally Bing. And since not a lot of people are running ads on Bing, you get so much more value for your money on it. So if you're targeting more of the sort of older people,
kill it for solar.
I would even say like people who 100% it would. I would even say people who aren't that tech savvy, maybe like your tradies and stuff. Especially if they've got like a HP laptop they bought for $800 from JB Hi-Fi that they use at their, the
end used to do their resume for the FIFO job. That
they use every Friday just to sit there and do the books.
You know what though? I was searching up tradie VAs the other day on Google. There's fuck all on there. It'd be so easy to get to the top of that. That's what I'm working on the next month.
Bloody oath.
It's like 3 companies, and one of them is an Aussie, and the rest are like US based.
SEO does work. Like I've got an SEO team in Australia that I white label or use, and it's like, I bought this property company the other day on Sydney, and they weren't even showing up on the first page for their business name.
Oh wow!
Like, and it was a mess, and I was like, so unless you've got like the basics down, it does make a difference. It's not like the front links, back links, and then.
I used to be an SEO nerd when I was 16. Yeah. Like, oh, dude, that was my thing. Like, I was all about SEO. My business plan at the time was to go out there and pretty much own a directory for types of businesses like chiropractors, rank that at the top of the local area, and then rent that click, like the link at the top, to go straight to their website. This guy on YouTube called Alex Becker, which now does crypto. But if you dig back further enough on his YouTube channel, that was his exact business model, where he was making like $10,000 to $20,000 a month easily doing nothing.
I like what you said to me about the SEO, like, which I use all the time now. This line is just like when I'm selling SEO for like mortgage brokers or something. I'm like, think about it. It's like if that lead has searched you in, they have a higher intent to buy from you because they're literally you're not looking for them. They're looking for you. So if they can find you, they are hot leads.
On top of that, where's the best place to hide a dead body? It's the second page of Google.
It's true.
So nobody ever goes there.
It's true.
Yeah.
I love
It's true.
Or second page of a book for me.
Mate, it's
like
behind the cover.
It's like my job. As in my marketer, my goal is to get into primary inbox. It's like you're not going to go to promotions or social, and then for SEO, it's the goal is to go on.
Talk about that for a second, because like after we had tea the other night, and you were saying to go check your spam folder, and you'll see some major companies in there. Like, why do you think most major companies haven't been able to get themselves out of the spam folder? Like, is it that they don't know, or is it just because it's too technical and they don't know what to do?
In the last 3 years, email marketing has changed more in the last 3 years than it has in the last 30 years. Wow. Let me break it down. The email was intended for me to email a friend and go, hey, see you at 5 p.m. today. That's what email is intended for. The user experience that Gmail, Outlook want to keep it that way for the user, because if you say, old mate Dave goes on, he wants to just message his grandma if he's getting bombarded with all this stuff. So what Gmail did is they created what I call the Harry Potter Gmail sorting hat. And if you see it at the top, it will say primary now, it will say promotions, it will say social, and then there'll be spam. If your image contains, like, and Google's filters have gotten so advanced, if it contains certain words, certain emojis, certain, like, buy from this Nigerian prince, $5,000 is ready for your account. Instead of that, it used to be the Wild Wild West 10 years ago, it'd go to your inbox. So now the user experience has been catered for, where it's just your inbox is pretty. So my job, or main job, is to get businesses out of promotions and spam, which a lot of them are. As I say, go to your spam folder, go to your promotions, there's some big companies in there, to get you into primary. So spam open rates are about 7 to 8%. Promotions are around 10 to 17%, and then primary is like 20 to 30, 35. So do the numbers. So even going from just spam to promo is like you increased your business and revenue threefold. And then again there. It's really complicated and technical to get through all this sort of stuff. It's the promotional language. It's the size of the text. You can't have more than 160 words. It's the length of your subject line. It's having too many emojis, having too many capitals. And then there's domain records. It just goes on. So it's like, not again, from this network that I've kind of learned it from, it's not a lot of people know about it. So it's such a valuable skill that I offer, and it's my foot in the door, because I can go to any business and go, I will guarantee get you out into primary inbox or you don't pay me.
That's a good offer. That's a great offer. So say you're like, do you take on service businesses?
What type of services you mean? Like
anything, just
a
clean business.
But I do. So this is where it goes into two parts for me. Is because I've been a copywriter for a while. Is that like if I wake up and open my laptop, I have to write the emails, and it's like if I write for something I'm not really like interested in
what's your interest? Like what's your
health and fitness and supplements?
Health and fitness.
So I write for supplement brands. So, but the thing is, I still offer my service to businesses like cleaning businesses, lawyers, mortgage brokers, to get them out of spam. And then if we have that conversation where, because I do the software as well, because it's not about just getting them out of spam, but it's just like I'm gonna have to set up your email records and then put you on Go High Level, Active Campaign, and then the ESP to send them out to actually have all that sorted, because they go, I bought this domain 10 years ago from a dinosaur and I think the .com still works, doesn't it? So things like that. So that's one side of my offer. So I happily do that for businesses and charge a one-off fee. But then the copywriting was like, okay, well, I'll take care of your whole email marketing for 4 or 5 emails a month to your 30,000 people list every week. That's a different story.
So as like a general rule of thumb, say I wanted to do a outreach campaign via email to tradies in the US. What sort of volume are we talking to get? Because I know there's obviously a certain percentage, right? Like 1 to 2% that are going to convert or whatever. That
industry
looks like.
standard is 3 to 5%. So it's best to start off with minimum, I would say, 1,000 leads. So that's going to book you. That's going to have 7 people interested. That's going to book you 5 calls. 2 ain't going to show up. 1's going to think about it, and 2 are probably going to sign. That's industry standard for anything, and that's the numbers I like to think of, because if it's a great email and you do everything right, you probably get more than that. So I have my LinkedIn set up to 200-300 automated messages a week, and that signs me 1 client every month on autopilot. I don't even check it anymore. It just comes in, goes on my Calendly. I have 10,000 emails going out a month on my cold outreach machine, and that signs me clients. And now I do
10,000 a month.
10,000 a month. Yeah. Each email domain, technically now to limits, are allowed to send 30 emails per day. Should keep it at those 35. I have 8 domains sending 30 emails a day. Times that by 8 separate domains. That's like, whatever numbers, 1,000, 3,000 a day, whatever. Times that over by 30, it's 10,000 emails.
Yeah.
So it's all from the same domain. Neil@legacywords.com, Neil@legacywords.ai.io.
Yeah, I set all of this up through Instantly, and then I just never end up doing it.
There you go. So it's a volume game with email, but the emails have to land in the inbox, and they have to intrigue you, And like I say, it's like every single business on the planet, I don't care even who you are, needs it, So that's why it's so valuable. That's why email's my game, and I stuck to it rather than going, I'll do meta ads or I'll be a marketer. Like, I hate the word digital marketer because it's just a scary word. It's like Voldemort. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, don't say the word. It's like, because it just terrifies people. It's like, again, I try to be a specialist of what I do on the phone. I'm like, I do this to get you here, boom, boom, boom. XY problem solve in X amount of time. And with the thing that you liked, the guarantee, I never used to do guarantees, but now I'm so confident about this offer. It's a guarantee.
Yeah, Mosey always talks about that a lot.
So I read Mosey's book, 100 Million Leads, and I'm getting a lot of stuff from it. Yeah. To get people out, to get people on the phone. So my goal now, I said this the other day, and it worked. I showed him the email this morning, and it says, if I don't do this for you, I will refund you all your money, and I'll do 100 push-ups of shame and video it and send you it. And he emailed me back and went, all right, let's see what you can do.
I won't fail.
It's a joke. It's just like, it's a red of like, oh, hello, Boston, are you free? Like, it was just something to break the ice, and he got back to it. And I was like, I'm putting my balls on the line. There's a guarantee. There's zero thing for the client, but I'm just trying to get them on the call, and I'll still do that guarantee. Don't get me wrong.
And you want to show them you can do 100 push-ups in one day.
There you go. Pretty
one with one hand.
But it's just things like that. It's to give you. I'm a nerd. I'll sit. We'll have these like weekly 1 hour meetings. We'll look at all this copy and email that's working, and you'll just go, fuck that's super intelligent. I'll use that.
I'm very anti against guarantee. I just think that attracts the wrong person in the first place. And Hormozy's done a great job at making everybody think there should be a guarantee or something in place, and it's the most annoying objection to get on a call.
Yeah, because they're all expecting you to do that for them as well. That's what Honest hit me with
on that hour-and-a-half sales call, dipping through tunnels and 2 phone calls. At the end of it, he goes, well, can you guarantee it? I'm like, bros, I can't guarantee I'm waking up tomorrow. Like what strength is a guarantee?
How do you handle that objection though?
Oh, I just basically turn around and I just say my signature line of like, mate, I'm not even guaranteed to wake up tomorrow to even do your dials. So like, what's the point of putting a guarantee? I mean, I can put it on a piece of paper, but it doesn't mean anything. And they go, oh, okay. And it's never.
Also, it shows you from a position of authority and not desperation as well.
100%. Well, that's one thing that's changed my sales is just literally just acting just laid back as anything and just pushing them away. Like,
yeah, it's a nice spot to be in when you don't need the business.
Yeah, it's not even that you don't need it. It's acting like you don't need it. It's like, and it's what I say to my setters all the time. Is like, when you go out there to a club on the weekend, do you walk up to a girl and go like, I really, really like your hair, your face, I want to take you home tonight? And I was like, and is she going to go home with you? No. I was like, it's because you're too available and you're too keen and she doesn't want that.
Depends if it's Bangkok or Sydney.
Well, if it's Bangkok, man, it's different. But yeah, if you sort of act like you're not too phased, you don't really care, if it happens, I might be happy with it, whatever. You generally get what you want. And that's what I've sort of found with like the push energy is like, even when we do our appointment setting, right, we build up so much value at the call, and then right when we go to set the appointment, we go, well, based on what I said, Jacob, I mean, would you find any value in that or not really? And it's the word not really, and we just go completely silent. And they go, oh, yeah, I mean, if you could show me some ways where I could start saving some money on tax and I could start putting that into, paying off my own occupier early, like you said, you think I could, then I'd be open to having a call like that. But just instead of being like, what I'd love to do is book you in for a call. And if you just act and you make them make the decision, so much better.
Put the ball in their court. Push them into the corner.
Similar to what this business owner did, and it blew my mind. It was great. He would do all that step, get them on the call, get them super warm and interested, and then go, yep, okay, cool. And then he would contact them and go, by the way, we're full. There's no more spots left, and we're going to have to put you on a waiting list. And they'd go, and the client would be like burning, and then they'd wait 2-3 weeks, then go back up, like, hey mate, we've got some space now, and they would jump at it. they would be like, oh my God, I have to work with this person because I'm on this like back burner. It just messes their psychology up. It's genius.
Or even, or even another thing of just like one of my favorite things to get clients to come on early is going, oh, like, you know, capacity is sort of filling up a little bit right now, so I'm not too sure whether or not we could probably even onboard you at the moment, and that just gets them onto onboard at the moment.
Yeah, we do the same. Close your file, and then they get an email and it goes, hey, I'm not too sure if we're too busy or you're too busy, but I know there's been a bit going on. We haven't been able to communicate, blah, blah, blah. We're just letting you know we have no more appointments left for the next few months. And then people just jump on the phone straight away and go, what do you mean you don't have appointments? I've been waiting for you. And it's like, I called you 5 times this week. You didn't pick up. But as soon as you're leaving them, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Start using it on the missus. You're only going to see me tonight. Maybe 5 days I might be away. So, you know, but we've got 5 minutes left, boys. So if he's wanted to do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that was finally good to meet everybody here.
Thanks for welcoming us to Bangkok, boys. We'll be back.
Yeah, it's crazy the power of what a For You page does.
That's it,
to bring everybody into a room.
It's funny because you are all Aussie. Like, I mean, I live in Australia, but like, it's funny. It's all the same country. If you ever come back and forth, and
it's generally just
you
British
can visit my
blokes
palace in
messaging me on
Brisbane at
TikTok.
any time.
I never actually seen this guy on TikTok.
No, you're the only one.
Oh yeah, he reached out to you through Window Property.
No.
Him and Ernest were talking with each other.
One of my appointment setters rang him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he had a call with Ernest, and then I get a call about 5 minutes before a call with Hayden, and it's like, yeah, we've got this marketing guy, and I'm like, okay. And then Hayden jumps on, and he's doing an hour and a half.
I'll forever say that was the most fucked sales call I've ever had in my entire life. And then it was like an hour and a half sales call just for Honest to say at the end, I mean, can you do like a guarantee or can we pay on commission? It's like, motherfuck, I did not
spend an hour.
Yeah, I did not spend an hour and a half talking to the both of you to just get hit with the pay on comms.
Maybe you should have that in your Calendly section when they're booking in. They have the qualifying section.
I don't even have Calendly. I don't have Calendly.
Yeah. Just by the way, we don't.
Oh no, dude, I don't even have Calendly. What happens to me is I just get an email like 3 times a week and it'd be like, hey Hayden, I'm just introducing you to blah blah blah. They're really keen to have a conversation with you. Are you free next Wednesday at 2 o'clock? We're both free. And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, okay, I'll be free at 2 o'clock. That's how my appointments get set.
Yeah. All right. Well.
That's good, boys. We'll have to do another one. Back in Oz, maybe.
Bangkok version 2.0. Maybe we'll do it in Pattaya next time.
No, we'll do it in Mount Gambier, boys. All right.
Have internet there?